Welcome to join me. How you doing? Got the rangers here, making sure everybody behaves. No, they're just here to help. We're not that badly miscreant, are we? Anyway, I'm in Bournemouth. I need to get the banners up. Give me a moment. Hope you're well. Give me a moment. Sorry, guys. try that. I'm almost done. Just need to tighten this one up. A few of these. I might get some chalk. See how we go. Now I'm getting windy from the back. Let me tighten this. How are you guys doing? Hope you enjoyed the gathering the other night. And talk of more gatherings. Our weekend event next April. Date to be confirmed. And of course the Alex Michael gathering in Javier next September, which if any of you are watching his stuff, you would have seen him in France, and Jasper put out a really cool version of Man on the Moon. I don't have great chalking space here. I've chosen this point because I think that people coming in through this way will see us, see it. Thanks for the thumbs up. The two of you have thumbs me up. I assume it's only two. Sven, if you're in there, sorry I couldn't make it to your place today, but I only have a couple of hours to burn here, so I'm putting this up. You're a guy that knows science, I can tell.
I'm just reading that sign, mate.
Yeah, so I put it up.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get involved, but
no.
Yeah, each their own.
Well, water's always level on everyone's earth. Water level, not water curve. He had the smell of a copper, actually. Yeah. That one. He had that kind of air. I want to put a bit of chalk down. I have to get people's attention. Make this a power hour or two. If you're enjoying my work, I would ask that if you've not yet made some kind of contribution to this effort, it would be greatly appreciated. This could work quite well. I think the colors are a little off for me. Let's see. It'll work. It's not great, but it'll work. I didn't feel like the last one I did where I wasn't live, and then I did it like as a premiere. It wasn't very kind of satisfying to me, to be honest. I much prefer the live thing, you know. Feels more real somehow. I might put research later. Yeah, so I'm in Bournemouth, if you didn't hear me say it already. It was a late in the day change of plans for our movements over these next couple of days, so I thought I'd take advantage of being nearby. Today's Sunday. The weather's pretty English. I mean, we've got a nice bit, a little bit of sun today, but it's fairly chilly. Not like not awful. Oh fuck! I misspelled it. Not thinking. I've got big on the E. Wait a minute. We're done. Yeah. Yeah. Thought that was for me. Thought they might stop for a chat. Not yet.
You didn't have a shirt on.
Yeah, that's true.
Try and get these people's attention.
If I work inside, you invite me to 22 so I can even walk up as well. Yeah.
I'll be with you guys shortly. Come say hello. I did an interview yesterday with a Truth or TV channel. KJ. Something there. No, KJV. Version, by the way, means verse I on. I think that it's someone's script. What do you think? Try and get people's attention. Did you know the Earth is flat, mate? Science, they taught us wrong at school. You can't measure curvature. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. We've been lied to. Never went to the moon. International Space Station is done in a swimming pool. All to deceive you, make you small, believe in evolution, to believe in lies, follow a false master. Earth is flat. I like the shades. That's insane. Juicy culture, that whole thing for me is like a tartification. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. We've been lied to. We can't prove that we're on a curving ball. NASA is Disney for adults. Earth is flat, sister. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. Earth is flat, we never went to the moon. Everything from NASA is CGI. It's Disney repackaged for adults. NASA is Disney repackaged for adults. You believe you live on a spinning ball that you can walk under, when that's completely non-science. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Let's have a chat. Go on, Bournemouth, let's talk about it. You've been lied to. Can you accept it? Can you face it? You've been lied to. They locked you down on a lie, and they'll do it again because you still believe their lies. They locked you down on a lie, and they will lock you down again because you believe their lies. The Earth is flat, it's not spinning. You can't prove the Earth is spinning. You believe it because it's a religion. Heliocentric religion. Earth is flat, guys. Earth is flat. When you fly on a plane, you fly over flat Earth. You don't go underneath. Water is always going to find level when at rest. Water will always find level when at rest. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Space travel is fake. No one's coming from outer space. Atlas I-3 is made up. It's not a rock, it's a light, just like the sun. Rocks don't float, Bournemouth. If you believe that rocks are floating, it's because NASA has tricked your mind to believe in Disney. Come chat. Come chat. Come on. You believe you live on a spinning ball. Yeah? All right. Don't go away, mate. Earth is flat. You lads should know about the spirit level, right? Earth is a giant spirit level. In fact, they say that the Loch Ness is the world's largest spirit level. 35 kilometers of perfectly level water. When does it curve? There's no curve over water. You wouldn't be able to build parallel, you wouldn't be able to build horizontal if we lived on a ball. Because your whole lie is a lie. Your whole life is a lie. If it doesn't matter, it's because the trick has worked on you. It's like, well, who do I care? No, but knowing that changes your life, bro. Well, once you know that the Russians and the Americans, they're getting us to go to war with each other. They're not actually enemies with each other. At the top table, they're all pulling off the same scam. So when they locked you down in 2020 and 190 other countries all locked down in the same way, it's because people like us, men, no longer care. Because we've had our balls cut. We've had our balls cut so that we no longer care that there's a guy come into your village and he is raping and pillaging. You no longer care about that. You no longer care about that. That's what you're saying. Nice one. They have done a good job on you. They locked them down. Earth is flat, not a spinning ball in space. The lockdowns were a lie. Did you know that? Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA is Disney for grown-ups that haven't quite grown up. Belief in vacuums of space, space travel, rockets traveling millions of miles away from Earth. This is all made up. You probably think that Elon Musk is going to save humanity. You'd be wrong. You probably think Donald Trump is going to save America. You'd definitely be wrong. They're going to lock you down again, friends. They will lock you down and they will make you wear nappies on your face. Wow. Whether it be through science or religious dogma. Religious dogma and a belief in the globe and that monkeys turn into men is all a diminution of you, Bournemouth. Come, let's have a chat about it. Can you prove water is level? Water is curving? Hello, my man. I'll take your flyer and I'll give you one of mine. You obviously believe, you know God.
Yeah.
I know God too. And I think that we have one creator, one divine, loving creator.
Jesus.
No, God.
Yeah, God.
God. Jesus is a man like you.
God in three persons.
Jesus, no, well, that's you. Yeah.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Or like you are the material and the spiritual and then the all. I say to people like the Trinity is actually you, your wife, and your child.
Yes,
That's the Trinity. See, in nature, you need the mother, you need the father to produce the offspring. And in nature, what we see is we need the night and the day. We need the lightning, we need the fire, we need all of these elements to kind of work together.
When we die,
Yeah.
we go to heaven
Okay.
if we believe in Jesus.
Well, so only 1 billion people out of 8 billion would get to go? Because it's only about 1 billion or maybe 1.5 billion that believe that, right? So what loving God would say, I'm going to create such a mess down on earth that you won't even hear about Christianity. You know, there's billions of people who don't know anything about Jesus on earth. Do you think that our loving God would condemn them for not having come underneath Christianity? Jesus Christ could be Julius Caesar, could be a whole lot of previous people that have gone before. The idea, I think that Jesus said that you are the way.
None of them died on the cross, whipped.
By who?
By the Jews.
By the Jews?
People.
By the Jews?
I'm not
You
saying
are.
Jews. I'm not against Jews.
You're not against Jews? Me neither. I think Jewish people are
If Jesus
just
had been
people.
here,
Yeah.
he would have been crucified still.
By who? The government.
People. 'Cause
By
they
the
hate it.
by the government, not the people.
What Jesus
No, the people
said,
didn't hate
in
Jesus.
the Bible,
Yeah.
Jesus said they hated me for no reason.
Yeah. Well, you know, because he spoke the truth.
Yeah.
He spoke the truth. He went into the temple and said, stop all of this nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm the kind of guy who's going to go around and say, stop all of this nonsense. Because what the government has done to us over the last decades, I went to war in Angola on a lie. And I know that you will know people who went to war in Korea or wherever on a lie. And they were
Second
mistreated.
World War.
Second World War, even so. You didn't look 80 to me, but I assume that
Just
you...
under it.
Right. So I know that for sure that you know people and you have been affected by the governments of the world who have taken us to war with each other. But what they cleverly do, like they did with Jesus, is they say, you see this guy Jesus? He's a bad guy. Do not give him any favor. Do not care for him. What he's saying is against what we are teaching, right? So imagine if I went into a town and who were doing terrible things, like let's say circumcising girls. I know that that's a very topical thing. Circumcising, and I went in there and said to them, and their head preachers, I said, no more of this despicable activity. And they would turn to their parishioners and say, you see this man, he's of the devil. You can hear him telling us against our word and blah, 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 blah. And that's exactly what they did to Jesus. And that's exactly what they do in the world today to people who come out and say the government and the institutions and the corporations are all acting against God's intention, which is you. So why? So I come out and tell people that the earth is flat, like it says in Genesis. You see, Genesis, I was a 12-year-old boy, and I said to my preacher, listen, the Bible says the earth is not moving. The Bible says God separated the waters from the waters, and on day 4 he gave us the sun, not day 1, which is according to mainstream science, right? They tell us sun comes first. before Earth. They tell us that we're in a vacuum of space. That's not what God said. God said he separates the waters from the waters. So you believe that we go out of here in rockets onto the moon, and God said, I'll put 2 lights, one for the day, one for the night. There'll be small lights, and they'll be under the firmament, in the firmament, yeah? That's exactly what the Bible says. Genesis says that. And then there's Job and other books that'll confirm that the earth is flat. God looks down upon us like grasshoppers. When I was a kid, they said to me, well, that's because God's omnipotent, so he's looking at the globe from all angles simultaneously. Wouldn't it make more sense if I was to build a terrarium for my animals or whatever, to build it on a flat thing with pools of water, all of those pools, by the way, being level and parallel to any other pool if it's at a different altitude? So the earth being flat means that it was created so, not a big bang like they try and teach you. It was created by God for you.
So you see that man there? He's become a Christian.
Fantastic.
He's a druggie, that's why he lost his leg.
Heroin or something.
Scotty.
Well, I say to people this. I know it's hard.
Become a Christian.
I know it's hard for you to hear this, sir, but I want to say these words to you because I feel impelled to say this. Jesus said, no worries. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth and the life. No one comes to God but through me.
Yeah.
Right. And I remind people that God created you in God's image. So when you look into the mirror tonight, you are looking into the image of God, and I would ask you to repeat that very phrase. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to God but through me. Because I say that Jesus said, you will go on and do greater things than I, and that you have, like me, the spark of God within you. And
it's through Jesus, though.
Well, as I say, I mean, I won't argue with that because I understand that that's your way in.
If you say, what's your name?
Dave.
If you say to Jesus tonight, I believe in you, thank you for yourself, you will be saved.
But are you not talking to yourself?
In your heart.
Are you not talking to yourself?
No, to Jesus. Pray to Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I've seen people risen from the dead.
But let me offer you this, sir. Let me offer you this. If you
people back from the dead.
Okay.
Through Jesus' name.
Well, if I was to offer you that, had you been born in southern India 100 years ago, would you have ever heard the name of Jesus? You would have heard Krishna.
Yes.
You would have heard, and so Krishna is like Christ, right? And when we look at the story of Krishna, it's a very similar story where there's like, a virgin birth and all these sorts of things that you can tie similar stuff to Jesus. And there's five that I'm aware of, deities over history that have had almost exactly the same story, born in a downcast and in a manger to a virgin kind of thing. All of these sorts of things have happened in previous stories in history. So I offer to you, sir, that the reason it's Jesus, and I will never try and dissuade you from this, but I believe that the reason it's Jesus is because you were born in a country that sells Jesus. And if you had to go back 10 generations in your family line, you would find your forefathers being beaten to death if they didn't believe in Jesus.
Yeah, but Jesus...
Did you hear that?
Yes, but Jesus wasn't around in a physical way.
No.
He was around.
No, you're missing my point. My point is that your forefathers were forced by bludgeoning to take Jesus as their savior. How can that be? How can it be that we would need to beat and burn people?
But God can't turn around and make you a robot or me a robot.
No, man can.
If he said to you, "Hey, you're wrong, David. The world's round." He doesn't say that. He lets you believe what you want to believe.
No. My people die for lack of knowledge. What is your name?
Jed.
Jed. That's my hand, Jed. My people die for lack of knowledge. I can assure you, Jed, that the death rate in this country today is higher than it was in 2020.
Yeah.
And the death rate in 2020 was lower than it was in 1985. In this country, hold on. People were locked up in their homes. People died because of bad information. And there's doctors, professors, high-level doctors saying what I'm seeing in the cancer department, what I'm seeing in the heart department, never happened before the vaccine rollout. What I saw with old people dying of fear in their own homes because their family members could no longer visit them in 2020, that is an abomination and an insult to God.
Yeah, but there was people dying, wasn't
there? But what they were doing was they were highlighting that. You see, people die in Bournemouth every day of the week. Every day of the week, but they don't bother telling you that, right? But what if I started telling you, 5 people died today? But you didn't realize that 5 people died a year ago on the same day. This time of year, time, we get a certain number of deaths. But what exacerbated it for the over 80s in 2020 was that they shunted everybody out of hospital. Everybody who was due in the over 80 group, or everyone who was due medical treatment in hospital, was shunted into care homes. And the care home, there's a whole story about how many people died in care homes, right? So do you think that if I disturbed a very frail 90-year-old lady from her thing, I frightened her and said there's something that's trying to kill you, I'm going to lock you in a box for the next 3 months and you're not going to see anyone? You think that might push her off the mortal coil a few months sooner or a few years sooner? You don't think that? I think that. I think that. Guys, don't take my stuff. Don't take my stuff, please. This is my stuff, come on.
Leave it there.
Yeah, thank you.
Leave it there then.
All right, thank you. And my water bottle. Yeah. Thank you. Where's he gone? I lost my guy.
He's run away.
All right, good luck to you, but please. What the fuck? That's what started that conversation with Jed. I think it was Jed. Nice guy. Off you go. This guys don't realize I'm running a live stream here. They're going through my bag. I was watching them. I'm like, they're just like looking for. I got some flyers here actually. I've been doing a little bit of guerrilla marketing for. Hello, ma'am. The Earth is flat. Did you know that? Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. Look at that. See young people in wheelchairs again, in prams. I don't know the story, obviously, but I'm aware. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA have tricked you. They started with Disney, and then the adults, they get NASA. Because really, NASA is Disney for grown-ups. NASA is Disney for adults. Water will run downhill, and then it will pool. And when that pool is full, it will overflow and keep running until it meets the sea. All rivers run downhill. The idea that the Nile is running up the side of a globe, well, only a 5-year-old would believe that. And after you've drummed it into the 5-year-old's head, the 50-year-old will still believe that nonsense. Water runs downhill. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. You are being lied to by your educators because your educators were brainwashed themselves. They might be smart, but they are brainwashed. Just like the religious teachers, brainwashed into Jesus, brainwashed into Muhammad, brainwashed into none of the above. But the truth is that you are the center of creation. And Earth is not a spinning rock, and you are not an evolved ant on the surface of a spinning rock. That doesn't work in reality, Bournemouth. How are you guys doing? I'm not getting a lot of traction here, but I'm sure that's about to change. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. Can anyone point to me the direction we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? Did you know the Earth is spinning faster than the speed of sound, but we can't measure it? So you must believe it, like religious people do. They believe the Earth is spinning because they were taught that, even though they don't feel it. Earth is not spinning. How are you doing? You're South African?
Yes.
Ah, where are you from?
I was actually born here, but I'm from Cape Town. I grew up quite a long time.
I was also born here, but grew up there. I was born in Bournemouth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where were you born?
London.
Oh, London, okay.
Yeah,
And where did you grow up? Cape Town.
Cape Town, yeah.
All right, I like Cape
Joburg
Town.
as well, yeah.
Okay, you sound a little bit more Joburg, I'll be honest with you. But
Yeah.
how long have you been here?
Long time, 17 years.
17 years?
Yes.
Wow, but that's a long time. You look too young to have been here 17 years.
Yeah.
Did you?
27.
Oh, okay, so you actually came back at 10 years old?
Yes, about
Wow.
11, 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still got quite an accent for that. I mean, it's soft, I'll give you that, but it's...
Okay.
Wow. So you did the whole education thing here?
Yeah, mostly in Scotland, and then I come to London. I did
All right.
there.
All right.
I've only lived here 6 years.
I did national service in South Africa.
Oh, lovely.
I did 2 years. Well, I don't know about lovely, but I ended up in the Angolan War in 1987. I wrote a book about it.
Oh, right.
And then that started me on a trail of research because my battles, it turned out the battles I was in, tank battles,
Yeah.
it's all legit.
Yeah.
We destroyed a brigade one day, and it's a matter of historical fact, so no one can hide that. So I wrote a book sort of centered on that one-day battle. and then it led me to realizing that, or discovering that the battles that I was involved in were somewhat choreographed. And after thinking about it for a few months, I was like, wow, you know, back in the day, we used to ask certain questions about why, after we destroyed a brigade, the following day we weren't hunting after the other guys, because the other 3 brigades were starting to turn back towards Quito Carnival, which became the death of apartheid, according to Nelson Mandela.
Brother.
Yeah, it's Earth is flat. Earth is flat.
He's talking about South Africa now. We're not talking about...
We're not talking about God.
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, God is, that's another conversation altogether.
Well,
religion
God is like the wind.
God
You
is
can't
everything.
see him, but you can feel it, right?
Yeah. God is everything. Everything is God. That means you are God too.
My middle name is Yeshua. So
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you come from a religious family? Sorry, you're a Christian?
Yes.
Wow. Your name is Christian?
No, I'm a strong Christian.
Oh, you're a strong Christian. Oh, okay.
Bless you, my man.
I'm Dave.
I'm Damon.
Damon, nice to
with
meet
a
you.
fluffy little...
I know, it's a wind muffy
I know.
thing. But so you've read the Bible a lot. When I was 12 years old, I said to my preacher, because I had a lot of Bible study, I said to my preacher, why does the Bible so out of touch with science? You know, because the Bible talks about an earth that's not moving, set upon pillars with a firmament and water above, water below. Sun comes on different times. According to science, sun comes first, then the earth. According to Jesus, according to the Bible, no, it's the other way around. So I used to joke with the Bible guys about that, you know. And then of course I went along with the mainstream science. And then 10 years ago,
I've got to be honest, mate.
when I
If you knew a guy that like healed a leper, like you know, just healed someone, just like that, would you believe it in your own eyes?
I'd have to see it. Yeah, I'd have to see it.
You'd have to see it to believe it.
In a
right?
world of misinformation, where powerful people will say stuff in order to get you to lock down. For example, do you remember 2020? Powerful people made stories up that got people to lock down, and people really believed that these little spiky balls were running around, called COVID, were running around and flying around above them at the table in the restaurant. But if they sat down, that wouldn't bother them. You know, this is what people actually believed, and that's all bullshit. And it was used for control. And I believe that religion has always been used for control. Whatever Jesus was, however he existed, whatever story.
But can I...
Yeah, Damon. Yeah.
But absolutely, there's something to it, but I don't know.
Take a flyer with you, because I got these flyers that help people just to kind of pick through some of the information. I'm not going to change your mind, but research, because as I say here, no. You know who invented Scientology? L. Ron Hubbard, and L. Ron Hubbard is best friends with Walt Disney, and also the guy who invents NASA. Yep.
Hey, for both of you, nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise.
Middle name Jesus, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Middle name Jesus. Yeah, sure. But although, you know, the letter J is only 600 years old. Did you know that?
Yeah,
But they pronounced it, they spelled it different back then.
Wow, it's just...
You been on the source today, my brother?
Have I been on the source today?
No, I'm not asking. I know you have. Do you want one of my flyers?
No.
All right. You have a nice day then. What did you even say? Fuck you then. I don't have time for that. Well, yeah, so I nearly lost my stuff here. This was getting pinched. Maybe I'll I haven't actually said hello to the room. Oh look, there's some people there rubbing it in. Thanks. That's helping. Earth is flat, didn't you know that? That drink in your hand there, that has to stay under pressure, and then when you break the pressure, that's thermodynamics. Earth not having a container is complete religion. Water curving is complete religion. You are in a religious cult, zealot. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. You are lied to every day. From the time you were born until today, you have been lied to. Earth is not a globe. Earth is not a globe spinning in a vacuum. And the stars you see in the sky, well, they're stars, they're lights. They're not rocks. Rocks don't float. Rocks don't float. Didn't you know that? Rocks can't float. You want to take a picture of my thing? When I say thing, I mean my banner, of course. Actually, I've got a little coffee here. Take a flyer. You're okay? Fantastic. You're in education. Miseducation, you mean? You see, your professor was miseducated, so that you will miseducate children for the rest of your life. Will you make them wear masks as well? For their health? Will you block their breath? For their health? Ridiculous. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. The sea is level. You never heard the term sea level? Do you know what that means? Is it just locally level and then it starts to curve when the ship goes away? Or is the sea always level? How do we build if we cannot level? How do we drop a plumb line if it is not perpendicular? Oh, it's perpendicular to a ball. Let's see if you can make that work in reality. Yes, in Disney you can make that work. Disneyland and NASA are exactly the same thing. One for children and one for adults. NASA is literally Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for children that don't want to grow up. Peter Pan. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Never went to the moon. COVID was a scam, and if you took the jab, you should look at ways of healing yourself. Let's chat. Come on, I only want you to see if you can change my mind. But I, in 10 years, have not found any proof that the Earth is spinning. There is no scientific experiment to prove the Earth spinning. Did you know that? At 1,000 miles per hour. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, ladies. Did you know that? Oh, fuck. I nearly lost my Earth is flat, guys. Don't believe what they taught you in school. Don't believe what they taught you in school. Earth is flat. Yeah, well, then that's to your credit. You might have to start again though. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Space travel is all made up. It's all made up. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for adults. They never went to the moon. The International Space Station is done in a swimming pool. How are you guys? Wait, why don't you hit the like and share this out? I'm not seeing many people in the chat. And if you can, send us a coffee. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. If you believe you're on a rock, an ant on a rock, then the government has your mind. You probably believe you came from monkeys. That your forefathers were in fact monkeys. This is what you believe. Earth is not spinning. It was created by a creator. It has a roof. And Elon Musk cannot get out, even with his hot air balloon. Earth is flat. All rockets do a parabolic arc and they drop into the Bermuda Triangle. No rocket has ever been higher than 100 miles. And I challenge you to prove me otherwise. In fact, there's a man got 3 Bitcoin for someone who could prove that the Earth is flat. There's a globe. You could win 3 Bitcoin by proving that the Earth is a globe. Guess what? In 5 years, he still hold on to his 3 Bitcoin. Why? Because water will always find level. That's physics 101. Water at rest will find level. And do not bring me a teardrop or a raindrop and say, oh, that's my proof that I could live on a ball. That's ridiculous, because of course that raindrop is going to coalesce and puddle, and that puddle will be flat. Hello, mate.
So the world's flat, mate?
Yes.
It's fine.
No, the water's flat. We've got obviously mountains. But the sea level on the east coast and the sea level on the west coast is pretty much identical. How's that possible on a ball? Have you never played on a ball? You play on a pitch, or do you play on a ball? Can you play on the level, or can you play upside down in Australia? People believe that planes are flying upside down and that ships are coming up the side of a globe. That is absolutely ridiculous. Because water...
I want to hear what he's talking about.
I'm talking about the Earth being flat.
Okay.
Did you ever read the Bible?
The Bible?
Yeah? Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Okay, in the beginning of the Bible it says that the Earth is flat. Right? That's what it says. And it says that the sun and the moon are small lights that are in the sky. Now, what you and I see are small lights in the sky, but your brainwashing will tell you that they're millions of miles away and they are much bigger than the Earth, or certainly in the case of the sun. Actually, when we try and measure curvature over water to prove that we live on a ball, we find that the further we can see, it never goes down. The water never goes down. If you're in Africa or from the Caribbean or whatever, when the plane goes from here to there, it flies flat and level for 10 hours. It flies flat and level for 10 hours to get to your destination. The pilots never have to allow for going around a globe. So the Earth, the ancient cultures knew this. The Africans and the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Incas, they all knew that the Earth is flat. They put it like a bubble, like a snow globe, where we're on the bottom, and then we got continents, we got trees, we got air, and then we got a roof that prevents us from getting out or anything from getting in. So there's no asteroids that are coming in. When you see stars in the sky, they are stars. They are lights, they are energy, and the energy is centered on you because you are the center of the universe. You are the center of the universe.
Where do I get more information?
I've got a flyer here, which I will give you. Give me a second.
You're talking like
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you can check my hand.
Yes, I can check your hand.
Yeah, my name is Dave.
Dave, I am Helga.
Helga,
Yeah.
lovely to meet you, Helga. Well, yeah, I only try and talk the truth. I don't have a religion to sell. I just say that the center of God is within each of us, and God wrote the truth on your heart, and you should live free, and I should not interfere with you, and you don't interfere with me. And the government, which is not even living, it's dead. The corporation is corpse oration. Corpse is dead. The dead are controlling the living, and this is not what God intended. God intended for you to be your own master, and the more Helga I take power from you, the less you are your master, and that's what government does through education, through medicine, through all sorts of things. Take my information. I know you got to go. I'll give you my flyer. You can actually also maybe give 1 or 2 to your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah?
We'll talk about it because they're silly. They don't want to hear.
Well, you want to also, there you go. You can go onto my YouTube channel and we can talk again. You can always contact me if you want more information.
Yes, I'd love to.
Awesome.
I'd be in contact.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Helga.
Nice to meet you.
Go
Nice
well.
to meet
You too. You too. You too. You too. Earth is flat. Did you know that? You think you live on a spinning ball even though we can't measure the spin? You nearly got a flyer up. Well, that Helga was a nice little unexpected thing. It's obviously some post thing, revelry thing. Hi, mate. I love to field any questions based on my banner here. Anything here that you think isn't real.
So what about other planets?
Lights in the sky?
Other planets?
Yeah, well, what we see.
So like Venus or
Yeah,
Jupiter?
Mars, yeah, they're all there, but for us, they're light. They're energy, they're frequency, they're a vibration that we can see doing. When I look at them under a powerful camera, I see them doing this, flickering like this. And if I look at Capella or a different one, I'm seeing a different color scheme, I'm seeing different frequency, I'm seeing a different vibration. That's what I see. What my mind control education taught me to see is rocks and gas.
What's this mind control education?
I'll get to that. Our education is an extension of the military and industrial complex. It is an extension of the means of control, because if I want you to believe a particular thing and I can fund the education, guess what? You'll grow up believing that. You know that whatever country you come from, the predominant religion, most people believe that, right? Here it's Christianity, in other places Islam, in other places it's Sikhism, whatever. Yeah, but that's because the people in that place say this is what we believe and this is what we push, this is what we teach. And the same is true with our science. This idea that we live on a rock floating through a vacuum of space is an idea that's only really made traction in the last 100 years. Before that, people didn't really believe in what they call outer space. And all ancient cultures, Asian cultures, Sumerian, Mayan, Egyptian, whatever, any culture you look at a depiction of how they conceived of the earth, it was always like a snow globe. It was at a flat base and then like a dome over the top of it, and everything occurred inside of that space: the lights, the weather, everything happens inside of that space. So so when they say that Vega or some other star is light years away or whatever, it's not. It's thousands or hundreds of miles away, if that. So that's.
Do you believe the universe is small? Or do you believe?
Yes,
And this
I guess so. Yeah, it's not 13. Well, the idea that it's it's spread out over 14 billion light years or whatever. I used to believe. Now I think that it's all centered on this. The extent of it, I cannot measure. So is it thousands and millions of miles bigger?
As people assign things.
That idea of us, the inflation post the Big Bang, that idea is not one that not one I subscribe to, other than for you as creator. You see, as a creator, you and your wife will take light and the magnet of the mother's womb, and you will create a new life. And from that you get inflation, initially a couple of cells, and then within weeks you're talking about like a recognizable body, right? So for me, I see that the Big Bang, it's like a joke. It was invented by a Catholic priest, by the way, but the Big Bang is actually us being creator. Us the purpose of us being here is
the Big Bang was a metaphor for the creation
of the child, you're the Trinity, the Mother, Father, Child. That's the Trinity.
Okay.
So the Ma being the magnet, the L masculine, there's the electricity.
Okay.
So you bring the sperm, which is the light, and she has the magnet, which is her womb, which is the seed that you will. So
it's fascinating. I feel like it sounds like. So you believe like how science is used. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like you believe how science is being used is more metaphorical in its explanation of us.
I think you see, scientists, bright minds, the very brightest minds perhaps, are having to work with the problem of, if this, i.e. Big Bang, then how do you explain water on Earth? How do you explain, the sort of the spin and things around the planets and all that sort of stuff? How do you explain all of that? And so they've had to come up with fantastical theories like the bending and warping of space and time.
They were
and all that.
experimented on though.
Pardon?
But these they weren't just theory. They had a theory and then they proved it wrong, or they proved it right. That's the whole methodology of testing.
Do you have an experiment that we could prove the bending and warping of space and time?
A documentary.
Yeah.
Regarding flat Earth, where they have the camera at one end of the lake.
Yeah.
And a slit at the other end.
Oh yeah.
And if there was, and then they raised the light above. And because of if it was straight, and the light was detectable, you could see
Makes
the light.
sense. Yeah.
But if you raised it, if you raised it, you could see it. If you didn't, then you wouldn't be able to.
So the guy who did that experiment, he turned out to be like a shill, an agent. He's turned his whole back on flat Earth, and for us that's impossible because of the fact that experiment. When we saw that experiment, we knew it went on Netflix. It was like a hit piece, right? Okay. And I feel that this question quite a number of times, because people obviously have seen that, and it raises all sorts of it causes people to say, oh yeah, well obviously, because if it was curving down, then I wouldn't be able to see the light after a time, or it wouldn't go through the hole, right? Okay. It's a very difficult experiment to pull off, right? You know why? Because light scatters over water, So when you in water,
that's why you have the slit as well. So it wouldn't scatter as much.
Yeah. So who do you think has the most powerful lasers in the world?
I don't know.
American military.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe. So the American military have a naval gun called the rail gun. Have you heard of the rail gun? And it shoots a use an electromagnetic sabot, and it fires this bullet out, or a sabot out at Mach 15. Mm-hmm. It's going so fast that it can travel and it only starts at say 40 meters above the sea, right? And it's shooting at another ship up to 100 miles away. Yeah. And it has no steering on it. It's not controlled.
No, it's automatic.
It's once you fire and forget, exactly. And so once you fire it, the laser has to be pointing at it so that the targeting device, the laser has to be pointing at the ship, so that the targeting device knows exactly where to point, right?
But you can, I've seen this because the Japanese have this new gun now, which they're in testing. You can have the laser pointing at it, but then you can have an arc of trajectory calculated within that.
I accept that point too, to allow for that. But we know that that's not how the railgun works. That's how an artillery gun works. And I was in the army and I did artillery, so I know exactly how that element works. And when it comes to that, people say, oh, when we shoot long distances, we have to allow for Coriolis, because the Earth is spinning.
Mach 15 is Mach 15, isn't it?
Mach 15 is, well, and it can get there, I guess, in a minute or whatever. It's getting there really, really quickly. But even if it was 50 miles, bro, even if it was 50 miles, we have to allow for this curvature that they claim is here. And if the curvature is here, and they say it's 8 inches per mile squared, I don't say I agree with that. I think that the curvature would be much more obvious. But if it's just 8 inches per mile squared, by the time you get to 10 miles, you're already at 60 feet, which is close to losing the ship, right? So this one is not doing, I know for sure with the railgun, they're not doing like an up and down artillery shot. It's a straight line.
Even straight. Because I don't know if you've seen those cartoons where the guy, he's on like a real tiny, I'm just speculating.
Please go ahead. You go ahead, bro. I want the question.
He's on a small Earth, right?
Yeah.
And he shoots a gun and it goes all the way around and hits him. Could it be going that fast that it's actually falling with the curve of the Earth?
We can't demonstrate that. I know I used to believe that the ISS and the Challenger and all of those things, they were falling around the Earth, and then somehow that falling, because in reality, right, if I fell off the side of it,
specifically with the railgun.
Okay.
Can I tell you my biggest gripe? I've just thought of it now.
Okay.
My biggest gripe with this whole flat Earth is it sounds to me a very self-importance on the idea that Earth is the only planet we've done.
That's true. Why would you have a gripe with that?
Because I feel like it's kind of prideful and the
It's
self-important prideful.
Prideful. Oh, wow.
The self-importance of a human being to believe that the only planet on Earth, the only planet in the universe
that exists is this
special shape.
Yeah.
It's right compared to the other theory
Yeah.
of it's we're just another leaf on the branch.
So let me offer you this.
Not to reduce its importance.
No, well, I absolutely know that. I absolutely know, because I came from 45 years of being on the globe belief, right?
Fine.
So I didn't always believe this, and I know that when I realized this, it's like, wow, we are much more important than I ever. When my mother died 4 years before I found this, I was like, yeah, you die, you go, that's it. There's nothing more. That all we are is grains of dust, infinite universe, much more advanced life, blah blah blah, all of those things. I accepted all of those things. So to me, what I see that now as is actually a diminution of who you truly are. So you're willing to, not you personally, but we're willing to kind of subjugate or set down what I believe God gave us. See, God gave us primacy. God gave us the. Do you believe in God? Do you have any belief? Okay, I didn't. But then I had a near-death experience 10 years ago, and I was an atheist. And I came back 7 minutes later, and my first words when I could speak were, "It's true, there is a God." So I did a lot of research over the last 10 years trying to understand that, because I'd raised my children, and there's no God, there's nothing, blah, 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 none of that stuff is real. And then I have this experience which kicks my ass, and so I have to research everything again. So I know there's a God, but the idea that it has to be God through a religion is bullshit for me. God is through you. Then that you are a microcosm of the macrocosm. So what this Earth is macro of you. The heart is an anagram for Earth, by the way, and the heart is the center of you, and I claim that the Earth is the center of the entire known universe. In fact, mainstream science used to do the WMAP, which was a background radiation survey once a year, and they'd come up, I think they stopped it in 2015, they'd come out and go, look, here's the whole readable, measurable electromagnetic spectrum of the universe, looks like a torus, and Earth is right at the center. Every time, and we're in a Big Bang randomly, but we happen to be right at the freaking center of what you can measure.
Because we're measuring it from the center. So we measure
we'd have to be, but if I'm standing right on the edge of Bournemouth, right, and I take a scanner, you're going to know that I'm right on the beach of it's not going to put me in the center. Why?
Because you're measuring it.
No, because I can measure 14 million or 14 light years or 40 billion light years, or 7 billion that way and 7 billion that way. If I can measure that, why can't I measure 10 that way and 5 this way?
Why can't you measure 10 that way?
Why wouldn't I be somewhere else within that? Why? They said, there are scientists, including Einstein and Heaviside and all these well-known scientists said, for us, the Earth being at the center or being sort of just random, well, we can't prove it, and becomes more a philosophical issue, because if we give up Earth as the center, if we claim Earth to be at the center, as the science is showing, then that really ruins our idea of Big Bang and inflation.
Okay. So I'm going to have to interrupt. I need to go soon. But I'll look into it. So
Please take my flight.
I want to look into the idea, I think it is an interesting point.
Yeah.
That if Earth's been in the centre, 14 billion on each side, cool.
Yeah.
And I look at the railgun thing.
Look into the railgun and look on my channel, because I have lots of other thoughts about that, because I think that we are the divine spark of whatever God is, but government doesn't want you to know that, bro. And they locked you down. Remember what they did in 2020? They locked people down on a lie.
I'm not saying the
The
government.
death rate in this country is higher today. You could call a pandemic because the numbers are higher today than they were in 2020. And people are harmed by, you know how many millions are saying I got harmed by what they did to me?
I get it.
You know
but
that?
I feel like this is not the answer.
No, this is the gateway to the answer. This is only the gateway. While they have your mind,
I'm gonna take a pause and
before you
think.
go, your husband, lovely man.
Oh no,
but
my sister.
cousin.
Yeah.
But what I agree about you saying, you know, Earth, your gripe is that Earth, flat Earth wants us to be like, it's egocentric. What I'm going to offer you,
that's a
shake my
gripe.
hand. What I'm going to offer you
That's a
is
gripe.
that your ego
Yeah.
doesn't want to let go of the program that you were given. If you were this high and you'd never seen school and you'd never seen TV there in Disney, and I came to you and said the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour and it's a ball, look, you go, no, that's ridiculous. If you've never been educated, there's no way. Most people will say, oh, look, the Earth looks flat. It's just not flat. The Earth looks to be spinning. I mean, it is spinning, even though it doesn't look like it's
But
spinning.
you don't feel speed. You feel acceleration.
But we're accelerating all the time because we're changing direction, and we're also tilting. We're
on
doing.
the edge of the ball.
Do you know how fast the Earth is moving? Over 2 million miles an hour
Yeah, through
space. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but we can't
But it's
see
sort of
any
suddenly
parallax with the stars for millions of years. That's
They do, the
new.
stars change.
But they come back next year. They come back every year the same.
No, they changed a bit in the sky compared to
That's
millions
called
of years ago.
well, that's called the precession of the equinox, and that takes a 26,000 year cycle.
We can
Brother,
talk forever, sir.
all the best.
Yeah.
All
Good
the
luck.
best. Yeah, nice to
I'll
chat
look
to you
into it.
anyway.
Do you respond? Yeah.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Cheers. Oh, there you go. A nice little conversation there. Oh, guys, let me say hello to you. I actually have my glasses. I see squirrels there in the room. I have my glasses here. Greetings. Kathy Broughton, lovely to see you. I agree with them. There's everything. Present evil that Jesus spoke of is much more evil than evil. Hey. Hey, CJB. Tony, how are you doing, man? A father with cat ears. I know, I wanted to rebuke him for his childishness, but all having fun. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Science class is a lie. Water will always find level when at rest. Water finds level. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, Bournemouth. NASA is Disney for children. NASA is Disney for adults. Same. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Sorry about the noise here. These Alpine Lodge guys, they were. Earth is flat. Let's see if I can give out a flyer. Earth is flat. Yeah, Earth is flat. Earth is flat, bro. They lied about it. Research flat Earth. Disney is NASA. NASA is Disney for children, adults. I'm getting a little confused. Earth is flat, guys. Not a spinning rock in space. Don't believe the propaganda. They'll lock you down again. They'll lock you down on another lie. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. No? Have you ever been under the ball? Think we could? No. It's definitely not a ball, ma'am. You can't walk under a ball. You can only walk on a flat Earth. Maybe up the mountain, but it's got to be flat. I've been doing a little bit of guerrilla marketing here today for thelight.co.uk. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. I saw my family a minute ago actually, and I'm not sure where they went, but we had treated Zizi to a ride on the Ferris wheel today. Not for me, obviously. I think it's 10 or 15 bucks for an adult. Earth is flat, brother. They lied to us about going to the space. You know they never went to the moon, right? Good luck with that. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. Not a spinning rock in space. Rocks don't float. Rocks do not float. Rocks cannot float. It's interesting what that guy was saying about, that his angle. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for adults. You can't go to space. Space cannot exist next to a non-vacuum. Vacuum and non-vacuum cannot exist without container. All right, mate. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, Bournemouth. I'm here to inform you today that you have been misled by your educators themselves, misled by their educators. You cannot sail underneath a ship, underneath a ball. Earth is flat. Water must be contained. And when contained, it'll come at rest level, flat, horizontal. Pick your word. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You know? Good man. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You want some info? Earth is flat. Try not to indoctrinate the young with this lie. You cannot travel to space, cannot land on the moon. There's a light in the sky, it's small as you observe. Sun is small as you observe. Earth is flat, sir, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat, Bournemouth, not a spinning rock in space. Have you looked into it? Can you prove curvature over water? No, you cannot. There's 3 bitcoins to the person who can prove water will curve over its surface. 3 bitcoins if you can prove that water will curve over its surface. To believe that you live on a ball, you must believe that water will curve over a surface. At what point will it start to curve, Bournemouth? 1 mile? 100 miles? What if I told you the world record photo in Guinness Book of Records is 250 miles over water, all level? Suez Canal, 100 miles, all level. You cannot take a boat uphill unless you put it into a lock. Hello. Hi, funny seeing you guys. Yeah. Of course you can. Thanks very much, young fella. Well, you probably already know that. You seem like a really smart guy.
About?
Well, apparently we can't measure curvature over water.
I know. I saw the ship going over the horizon when I was
did you?
Yeah.
And then when you went to the Ferris wheel, could you see the ship come back?
I could see the Isle of Wight.
Impossible.
Yeah.
It's 14 miles away. I did a video about that with Sven
We have some.
the other day.
We have some business.
Oh, we might have some takers. I nearly have some people take the battery out of the bag. Yeah, some guys were actually, I've got it on camera. Hi guys.
Hi.
You speak English?
Yes, we do.
Awesome. Where are you from?
Across the Europe.
Slovakia?
No.
Oh. Where? Europe. Okay. I've just come back from Spain, actually. Yeah, you know that the Mediterranean Sea doesn't really have a tide? Did you know that?
No, not really.
Yeah, you know, the only real tide is, like when they have pressure. Pardon me?
What makes up a tide? Where do tides come from?
That's a great question. You know, we're told that it's the moon pulling on the sea, but in Scandinavia, in the Swedish Sea, they have no tide. In the Great Lakes in America, which are massive bodies of water, no tide. Some people say it's because it's fresh water and it doesn't have the same effect.
It's not the best.
Do you want to fly?
I'm all right.
No?
Yeah,
Earth is flat. You can't prove that it's a globe, right? Take my information. All right. That didn't go very well. Earth is flat, guys. Not a spinning rock in space. Do you know why they lie about it? Do you know why they lie about us being on a globe and being monkeys evolved? Because they want to demean you. That's what the purpose of the globe and evolution is. I used to be a believer in all of those things. Now I know it's a religious cult. The idea that we live on a spinning rock is against physical science. The idea that there are rocks in the sky floating around on space and time, bullshit. Space and time are two made-up concepts. Space and time.
How did you come to the conclusion of what you believe now?
The curvature formula. I'm a mathematician, and I never got taught the curvature formula for a globe. If we live on a globe, you should be able to stand on a beach and measure 8 inches per mile squared as you go away from you. That's what they claim. I think it would be much more. But the maths claim, or Pythagoras would say that it's dropping down by 8 inches per mile squared, which means that by the time you get to Needles, do you know Bournemouth?
Yeah.
So if you look over the Isle of Wight and you see Needles, that's 14 miles away. And they only stand about 50 meters above the water. And according to the formula, you should have lost them by now, just because there's that much hump in 8 inches per mile squared. It's already 60 feet at 10 miles.
That's very interesting.
So that was what stopped me in my tracks at 10 years ago, because I grew up by the sea and I was like, come on, man, I've seen things, long range things. And at night I can see lights 50 miles away.
50 miles.
50 miles. How can I see that? If it's a street light, for example. Let's say I can see a light that's at street light level. That's only 10 meters high. And the amount of curvature in 50 miles is getting into the hundreds of feet. Hundreds of feet. There's a famous photograph of Chicago across Lake Michigan. It's taken from 50, 60 miles away, and you can see the whole of the horizon. If you ask Google why that is, it'll say, well, it's being lifted up by refraction. Even though you can see all the detail, there's no stretching of the image, it looks pure. And the Guinness World Record photograph over water is 250 miles. And some guys, private guys, have gone up into Wales on the highest mountain there and taken photographs of 7 peaks in the Alps, 700 miles away. And a guy with an infrared camera has gone up to a plane and taken 1,000-mile photograph down the coast of America into Mexico. And they can plot points down there. 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
That's hard work.
Well, not really. I mean, I think that it's important. I'm one of the people that cares that if people are being lied to, like with the COVID thing, I go out and talk about it. I'm not willing to hide away like a child. It's just because this thing called government, which is not your master, is now telling you to stay home. Most adults I know, like frightened children, they ran home. Like frightened children, they stuck needles in their arms just because someone they know got sick or flu was going around. And then they frightened workers. They said, you'll lose your job. And they frightened teenagers like my daughter, who was just coming out of uni, and they said, you won't be able to party if you do not take this poison. And guess what? She went and took one. Why? Because she believed she was going to lose her freedom. So we are not our own master, and the reason for that is because people believe, and we believe bullshit, and we do not realize. Because flat Earth it means that you are God. For me, anyway, it means that whatever God is in you, and we are an essence of it. Even though we may be fractal, we may not be the whole, because obviously we're not. Whatever this is it, but we're a fractal of it. We're a micro of the macrocosm.
That's very interesting.
And it puts us right at the top table. No God, no Jesus, no Muhammad, no Boris Johnson, none of these people. They should be bending down to you, going, how can I serve you best?
Wait, so these, I didn't actually realise, but are those yours though?
Yeah.
So is this like a solo project?
Well, I mean, today I'm on my own, but we've toured around Europe, England many times, done 100 cities. Around this country alone, probably. Going around and talking to people. We have a growing, like people, the globe people who hate their religion being challenged. I'll say you have members all around the globe. Well, we have members all around the flat earth of, and it's in the millions now, because I've been, following this for 10 years, as I said. But I didn't believe it. Like I said to you, I wasn't willing to believe that. The maths was what did it for me. But prior to that, a month prior to that, I had a near-death experience in which I, for 6 minutes, wasn't in my body anymore. And I was an atheist when I went in, and my first words I could speak when I came out is, true, there's a God. So I had to start again, not with religion, but with this idea that, wow, there's something divine going on here. And when you die, you return to whatever that is. And when you've lived, if you've lived well and not been misled, I suggest then you've achieved what you came here to achieve. Your higher self. It's not about me, and what you do with your life is really up to you. But the thing is, I just like with the vaccine, people were taking that based on bad information, propaganda or whatever you want to call it. They were taking that based on bad information. And the same is true with me. I went to a war in a country called Angola in the 1980s. People are going to go to war in America, in Europe again, Ukraine and all that stuff. They're going to go. Why? Because they believe the lies that are being propagated by the bankers and the people that fund pretty much everything. The education was funded by the same people who kind of run the banks and run everything. So why wouldn't it be altered to affect them? Same with religion. Doesn't religion tell you all these frightening stories about how you're going to be hell and all this stuff they're going to frighten you into, but taking their poison, coming on a Sunday and taking their poison. So.
Well, that's just religion. It's a bit crazy.
But but anything that's based, anything that you say, wow, this is a belief, but it is unshakable. It's like gravity. It's a theory, but it's a law. Even though it's the theory of gravity, it's a law for most people. Well, that's the problem, is that when you get rocked in like that or locked in like that,
it's going to be bad. We need to go.
You've had it, yeah. No worries.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, man.
I hope it works out for you.
Thank you. That's a little patronising, but Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You've been lied to about who you are and where you are. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. Oh, one of my family, they were here and now they're not here. How are you guys doing? It's Sunday, isn't it? And I'm obviously not in London. I'm in Bournemouth. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a ball. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, mate. Earth is flat. The Earth is flat. Water runs downhill and will pool level. Water runs downhill and will pool level. You cannot live on a rock that's spinning in space. Earth is not moving. I'm really getting a low heads up here today. Something about the stars. I think I've got another week before the stars come into alignment. Earth is flat, guys, not a spinning rock in space. NASA and space travel is all fake. It's all Disney, CGI, as they admit. They lost the tapes about the moon landing. Why? Because it's all a lie. They can't prove that they went to the moon still, to this day. And yet 50 years later, our technology has moved on, and yet Elon can't go to the moon with men on it. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA is all fake. NASA is Disney for adults. Water finds level. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. It's time to end the indoctrination. Earth is flat, not moving. Sea is level. I could do with a few more people here. Unfortunately, Sven was a little under the weather today, so he couldn't pop down. I'm going to be in Somerset soon. If anyone happens to be in Somerset, we could get together. Maybe even come out in the street. Earth is flat, sir. Not a spinning rock in space. NASA is fake. NASA fake space. NASA fake space. Earth is flat. NPC any day. Good one. Hi, Cameron. Strange couple. I've seen a few. I mean, Bournemouth is a little bit of a magnet for that. Earth is flat, young man. Not a spinning rock in space. Space travel is all fake. Astronauts are actors. Just so you know, astronauts are actors. They never went to space, and Earth is flat because sea is level. Now it's actually raining. I'm gonna take a little shelter here. I'll have a chat with my chat room. Let me bring my battery pack out of the rain. I think I've got a little shelter here under this old world building. Yeah. Oh. You see, because there've been Halloween, I think people are well, as you can see, my friends, it is rain stop play. Let me say hello. Where's my specs? Got so many pockets. There we go. Nope, it's there. Singe man. Funny. True Atlas, what a joke, yeah. There's something significant about it though. There's something it has a meaning. It's a portent, what I say. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, I got him thinking, that guy. Yeah, I got him thinking actually, because You know, the thing is that when a person takes a particular view on this subject, they will hold that view, and they will get that view reinforced by the algorithm. So, as you can see, it's definitely still raining. Oh, hi, the Trinities. Where are you? Tell me where you are, and I could come join you. Although I'll probably wait till this rain abates. It will abate. This young lady's not too bothered by the rain. How much has changed? Yeah. 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 The rain is still the same. The rain, the cloud thing is an interesting one. I've seen some questions about, you know, is there really this much weight being contained within a cloud? And I don't think it is. I think that there is a process. I'm not saying there's no moisture in the cloud, but there's a process that has to occur in order to squeeze moisture out of the ether. That's right. And so more air is being drawn in and imploded, and so it can get heavier. Only as a comet being driven towards the Earth. I've heard the story that it might be that people are saying, oh, it's some kind of craft, and they're like craftily seeding that idea just to kind of reinforce this idea of craft and so on. Because actually, if you went back to my childhood, you know, the idea of aliens was so out there, alien craft. I'm not saying that there can't be anything from other things, but I feel like, and maybe there is, and maybe this is about gently, softly preparing us for that, but I'm very suspicious. Hi Seth, Brenda. That LGBTQ flag bearer literally had their devil horns in. I know, it's unfortunate. But they feel so outside of society, and yet this, for me, this truth is so liberating. My chalk obviously got cleaned. I was glad those rangers didn't say anything about it. Just a conversation I didn't need to have. Rain is easing now. I feel like I've lost my audience. Damon and Christy, yeah. I mean, what are the odds of a guy called Jesus and Demon as well? Earth is flat. Can't help that. So yeah. Any legends? Hey JP, hope you're well. I'm going back through the chat now. Hi Tarita again. Shorty, DMT. DMT. Wow, life changing. I need some water. last bit of the rain, I think. Earth is flat, mate. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space.
Sorry?
Earth is flat. Did you know that? Earth is not a spinning rock in space. They lie to us about who we are and where we are. Just check it out.
Okay.
People are laughing it off. All the best. Have a good day.
Your writing's gone.
I know.
Nah, it's alright.
Yeah.
Boss man, please help me out, please.
I don't have a coin on me, or even a pound, or any kind of coin. Sorry about that. Yeah. Not even a note. I'm skint today. I know. It's how it goes. But hey, if you want a fiver in the tin, buy me a coffee, a couple of coffees. I know there's a few here who've done that before, but if there's anyone else who wants to throw something in the tin, I'd appreciate that. Yeah. Do you want a flyer? You want a flyer? Earth is flat. I know you hate it. There's a reason why you hate it, because you've been brainwashed. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. We were brainwashed at school. School was brainwashing. Earth is flat, sir, not a spinning rock in space. Education is brainwashing. Indoctrinated. Doctored. Altered. On the altar of science. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. The rain is easing. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for adults. Yeah, I could have I had planned to be down there in the gardens today, which is where I normally go when I'm here. Earth is flat, sir. NASA never went to the moon. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for adults. It's all CGI, green screen, swimming pool, fake. NASA is fake. Yeah, I plan to go down there into the gardens, but they're setting up a Christmas market here, and all of that is closed off. So the walkway it's split, and people are coming. They're not going down there as they would normally. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You can't be on the outside of a ball. All fruit contains the fruit within the skin. Everything lives inside of a skin, including the earth. They call it a firmament in the Bible, and water will always find level. Fact. Fact. Water will always find level. Wow. Water will always seek and find level. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Bournemouth, not a spinning rock in space. It's only indoctrination that makes you believe man landed on a moon in a vacuum. He's never been in a suit in a vacuum chamber, but he's been in space in a vacuum chamber. You can believe that because it's on TV. Like Sandra Bullock went to space. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Education is miseducation. They lied to you about who you are and where you are. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, Bournemouth. You can see this building sunk in the mud. Earth is flat, not a ball. Earth is flat, water is level. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is literally Disney for adults. It's all green screen, harnesses, swimming pools. Fake. Hello. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Space travel is all made up for TV. Space is fake. You can't walk on the underside of a ball. We can't live on a ball, people. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Your science class was indoctrination into a religion called heliocentrism. Water will always find level. Gravity is made up. Gravity is simply buoyancy and density, an expression of displacement. Gravity is a hoax. Gravity is a religion. Theology. Gravity is theology. The idea that water will stick to a ball and rocks will float is made up in science fiction class. NASA is Disney for adults. Earth is flat. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. That's all made up. NASA, Indians never landed on the moon. That's all cartoon. If you believe that Chandra landed on the moon, you are being tricked by cartoon. It's all CGI, and bad CGI at that. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock. Rocks don't float. Gravity is made up. Pseudoscience. Heavy things fall. If you think you can walk under a ball, I could sell you a bridge. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, Bournemouth. NASA is Disney for adults. Elon Musk is fake. Elon Musk is deep state. Trump is deep state. They're going to lock you down again on another lie. They'll lock you down again, Bournemouth, because they are lying to you and you believe it. You believe the lies they taught you in school because teacher was indoctrinated to teach you about a religion called gravity and relativity. These theologies are just theologies that have never been proven. They are religious dogma that science class teaches you from the age of 7. Water will always find level. Water must run downhill until contained, and that container will be level. That's a fact. You can win 3 Bitcoin if you can prove otherwise. Earth is never going to form a ball. Balls will not hold water, no matter your belief in the religion called gravity. Gravity is stupid. Gravity is density and buoyancy in effect. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Science class was a lie. Science class is religious class. Science is designed to get you to believe that monkeys turn into man and that people can walk upside down on a globe. People cannot walk upside down on a globe, and water will not stick to the outside of a globe. Earth is flat, young man. You've been lied to. Science class is indoctrination into a religion called heliocentrism, a belief that the sun is your master, like Jesus, the Son of God. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, Bournemouth. Science class is indoctrination into a belief that water can cling to a ball if the ball is big enough. That's never been proven. Only pictures that you got, cartoons and paintings, can prove it to you. Check it out, bro. Take my flyer. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. My man. This is interesting. Some information? Check out my flyer when you're finished. We'll chat. Good, I like your shirt. Have a flyer. I love me. Don't think he does anymore. Earth is flat. Have a flyer. Have a nice day. Cheers, man. Earth is flat. Science class was a lie. You cannot live on a ball. How are you doing, my man? You're selling the issue today. Got a bit wet, eh?
Today, tomorrow, the day before.
Have you ever heard this?
It doesn't speak.
God is within you.
I know.
Check that out.
I heard
God
that.
is within you. Oh, my battery's nearly dead.
And I believe it.
Awesome. My battery's almost dead. If it dies, it dies. Hold on a second. Hopefully it's still dry. I didn't get nicked. Boom. Back in the game. Back in the game. I'm still here. Are you still here? Yep. 22, that's a good number. 22. Feel free to share this. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Bournemouth. Not a spinning rock in space. Did you know that? Flat, yeah. Water is always going to find level. Can you prove otherwise? Earth is flat. The belief that you live on a ball is a religion. Cannot be proven. Earth is flat. The idea that we're traveling underneath a ball when we go on holiday to Africa is made up bullshit. The gyroscope will prove that we stay level in flight for thousands of miles. Thousands of miles of no curve. Earth is flat, Bournemouth, not a spinning rock in space. Bobbies. You see, this is an old world building right here. Boom. Bobbies. That's old world, right? Notice how high that floor is there. This one's not a great example of that. The upper floor there, this one here, is quite... Hello, mate. Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm thanks.
See the glass on top? That was added in the 1800s, that glass on top, because there was no roof. Have you ever looked into the subject of Tartaria?
I've not. I don't
or
know
mud
what that
floods? Have you heard the term mud floods?
No. What is
Interesting subjects that serious people are researching, professors and the like, that the Earth was consumed by like a Noah's flood event 600 years ago.
Okay.
And that many of the buildings that we see around, I was just talking to my chat room here, I was doing a live stream. I was just talking to them about like this building here, Bobby's, will be an example of an old world building where I can guarantee you there is at least one basement floor and possibly two that they have access to. And these buildings, the original road level or grade was 1 or 2 stories below where we are now. Okay. And then this mud flood came through, and I've been to, I'd say 50 cities in the last 8 years since I've known about this. And every place I go, even small towns, I'll be like, this building, it's definitely got a basement. And the basements, when you look around cathedrals and stuff like that, the basements are often as big as the floor plan at the bottom, and the work involved in achieving that is so significant in the 16, 17, 1800s. You go like, why would they go to this length, you know, to excavate that much? If the excuse is they use it for a coal bunker and a fridge, that's the best that people can go. Because even today I go into old buildings, they're like, do you use the basement? No, it's too wet. It's, you know, we can't really, it's not safe, or it's not healthy, or whatever. Right. And we know that when you build underground, you've got to allow for water ingress. Right. And they never had any non-permeable products back in the 16, 1700s when they were building these. So why would they go to that? Why would they make that mistake on millions of buildings around every city, Europe, Africa? No matter where I go, I find the same story. So that's a subject called mud flood. I just wanted to introduce you to that because you're going to have to go and research it yourself, and it takes hundreds of hours and looking at real world examples of this to start saying, wow, there are some questions. I've been to old buildings in the UK where in the basement they've got window frames, window arches and doorways into the dirt. Right, okay. Impossible. You would never do that unless there was no dirt when you built it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you had a question for me.
Well, I just wanted to see, get a sense of what this is all about. So are you a flat earth?
I'm a living man who knows that the globe was designed as a means of demeaning who you and I are, who we are. Robbing us of control, just like religion has robbed us of autonomy and sovereignty.
What do you say was designed? Who by exactly?
That I cannot answer.
Okay.
It might be you. It
well,
might be
me.
No, but you have a high. I mean, I do know now from a near-death experience 10 years ago that we have a higher self, and that when we leave this body, we return to that higher self as if we've been away for one day. Had a dream, call it a day at Disneyland. We've come back after 80 years. This time, and it's like nothing, no time has passed. We go back to that, and it's a loving that, whatever that is. And I think that is the emanation that creates this. We may be an integral part of the whole, in the same way as the heart is an integral part of you, even though you don't access it and look at it or get involved with it really. Right. I think that the earth is an anagram. Well, I know that the earth is an anagram for heart. So I believe the earth is the center of whatever this is, however big it is, however it works. I believe that the earth is the center, and we are the center of the center. Yes.
Okay, but do you believe the earth to be flat? For lack of a better term?
Well, I know that I believe the sea, the oceans,
yes,
to be one body of water, one joined body of water. Although it's named 6 or 7 different oceans, right?
Yeah.
It's one joined body of water, and it has pretty much the same level, with the exception of regional tides, local tides. Like around England, you get some 20-foot tides, whereas in the Maldives, you get like a 1-foot tide, right? So you get varying tides in varying places, depending on other factors. For me, in a flat Earth, it's like I built a mini town here in Bournemouth of the flat Earth. If I did it here, I would have one level body of water and the rocks sitting above that. Those would be my continents. I'd have a pumping system where water would be flushed in and out. And I've observed this myself. Before I got into flat Earth, I'd gone to Cape Point, the southernmost point of Africa. Okay. And there, on a very clear day and the right conditions, it's almost as though a line has been drawn between the dirty, hot water that's coming, warm water that's coming down the east coast, and the cold, clean water that's coming up the west coast. There are two sort of, if you like, pumping stations in my view. One's taking dirty water in and the other one is pushing water out. You know that in the UK, they use what they call Newland mean sea level. Back in the early 1900s, for 5 years they measured the mean sea level in Newland down in Cornwall, and all places in England and Wales, Scotland, are given the same. If I did a topography map, if I want to say this place is 50 meters above sea level, it's based on Newland sea level. So there is no, if I go from east coast to west coast of England, I'm going to travel up 300 meters altitude, and I'm going to travel down 300 meters altitude. If I had to draw that on a line, your teacher would have done this when you were in school. He would have drawn a flat baseline and then sort of did the landmass and the rise and the fall as a sort of graph above that, or a line above that flat baseline. You can do the same experiment with America. You can go for cycle routes across North America, and you'll find they start in New York, end in California, 0-0, goes up 3,000 meters at the max, and then comes down 3,000 meters. It never allows for any curvature over that 3,000 mile range, which is 1/8 of the way around a apparent sphere. There should be allowance for that. There should be allowance over water for us to say, well, like we were taught in school, the ship is going over the horizon as we're seeing it going away. But now we obviously know that if I went up on the hillside, I'd still see that ship, and maybe a ship behind that ship that still seemed to be on a flat level body of water. We've taken powerful cameras to the beach, allowed the ship to go away, and then zoomed back in on the ship and discovered that, wow, maybe it's just perspective and our angle of resolution, i.e. how low we are to the picture, that will determine how quickly we lose things if in the distance. So when we go in a plane over the Mediterranean, you can see a ship 100 miles away from up there, and it all looks to be on a level body of water. But they tell us that curvature is 8 inches per mile squared, and that by 10 miles you're looking at 60 feet, and by 100 miles you're looking at 6,000 feet of curvature at 100 miles. The railgun shoots 100 miles, makes no allowance for curvature. The Suez Canal is over 100 miles, it makes no allowance for curvature.
Okay.
They say, I read an article the other day, scientists back a few years ago claimed that, you can Google, claimed that Loch Ness is the world's largest spirit level because it has almost no movement. It has like a millimeter or two of tidal, if you like, movement. They say that for 30 kilometers, 35 kilometers, it is the levelest, flattest thing. It is like the world's largest spirit level. Because I was Googling it the other day. I was like, what is the longest spirit level that anyone has ever made? It turns out it's only about 3 meters long, right? But right there in the first comment, AI says, but scientists claim that Loch Ness is the world's longest spirit level. So we know that bodies of water are level. But if I'm right on the beach at Loch Ness and my mate is 35 kilometers away on the beach, I won't be able to see him because of this thing called perspective. But if he had to put a powerful enough light up, I would probably be able to see that light. We know lighthouses can be seen for 60, 70 miles.
Right, okay.
And that can be from a vantage point of just 200 feet. And according to this curvature formula, we should have lost that light behind an invisible curve. If I hide my hand behind and go around the corner, you won't be able to see me. No light is going to bend around the corner and allow you to see me around the corner.
Right.
So this idea that needles, if I look on the beach here at 14 miles away, and I can see all of it on a clear day. But they say that there's more than 100 feet of curvature in that distance, but I'm seeing the beach on the other side.
Okay.
So we know that I know, now I'm 10 years off the globe idea. I know that we were indoctrinated into believing things, saying this because sunset means globe. Because, how else could it be explained? Well, I can explain it with a plane going away from me at cruising altitude will appear to descend, even though it's holding its own thing. That's why the clouds will appear to touch the horizon in the distance, even though they're not. That's just perspective, drawing, pushing, squeezing everything into together in the horizon line, right? So that and this idea that we're spinning, 1,000 miles an hour, and that the atmosphere is somehow, because of gravity, because we were taught the pencil fell on the floor, that's called gravity. Now gravity not only holds the water to the ball, it holds the atmosphere to the ball. But the helium balloon kills that point, because it's like, well, if it can't hold it here at the ground level, how's it going to hold it up 20 miles high? Well, now the reason why it's staying at 20 miles high is now it's achieved neutral buoyancy, and now it's going to float at that point, and that's unless it's disturbed, it's a natural place. And all gases in a cylinder, if you put 4 different gases, they would settle, like liquids, would settle at their own density point, right? Just like this experiment here, which is very well known. Right? These are different objects being floated at different points in that, depending on the viscosity or the density of the liquid and the object.
Right.
And so this explains, I can take a lump of steel and it'll drop in the water, but if I hammer it into a hull, I'm now displacing more weight of water than the ship weighs or the hull weighs. So it'll float. That's 101 Archimedes, right? So everything needs to displace. And if it doesn't, if it's too heavy for the medium, like the air that we're in, well, of course we're going to be on the bottom. But if we fill this area with water, we'd begin to float because we're a bit buoyant in water, and gravity would no longer have any pull on us. So it's really just about, and the same way you've seen the experiment perhaps with the anvil, where they float an anvil on in a pool of mercury.
I haven't seen that. No.
They push it down and it'll bob back up like a football.
Okay.
And that's just density. That's because it is so much less dense than the mercury. It'll float like a football on water.
But I do have a question. So, the other planets in the solar system, are they round or are they flat?
There are lights in the sky, and they appear round, but they're really stars. They're not balls of either gas or rock floating on time and space. That concept is a lie. Okay. So what I believe is that it's an electromagnetic signature of some sort. When we look at it under the most powerful zoom camera that we can buy on the market, the Nikon T1000, we slow that footage down, we see a repeating shimmering. Now, I used to believe that shimmering was the effect of the light meeting our atmosphere and then picking up a shimmer. But now I realize that the shimmer is different for Mars, Mercury, Venus. They all have their own signature, if you like. And I can go back to Mars every night of the week and get exactly the same shimmer, but a different one from Venus. And Capella, for example, will cycle through a color of rainbows. It'll just kind of do that, and whereas Mars comes in red. So these are lights that are, I believe, connected to you. They are just like the moon and the sun. They are connected to you, and they have an effect on you. So the astrology stuff, if you go deep into it, is relevant in a flat Earth because everything is close. Whereas I believed that everything was millions of light years away and all of that, I never believed that any of this could have any effect on us. Now, when I believe, wow, it's all inside of our system, just in the same way as your heart is inside of the system. Well, it's inside of a system that is talking to us, it's communicating with us, it's sending energies. And the people who run the world, the Vatican, and the powers that be, the Vatican own the biggest telescope in the world, and they're watching these stars because, like the Bible says, the stars are for signs and for seasons. And they know when there's good times and then there's energetically perfect times for them to control mankind. If you look at the alignment, for example, in the day that the world was locked down by the World Health Organization, the alignment of the stars was just same as the alignment when they did Pearl Harbor, when the Pearl Harbor attack happened. Okay. You start to see these kind of alignments in the sky as far more important on a flat Earth and far more relevant to us. But no, so the idea that gas is going to coalesce in a vacuum cannot be proven. Thermodynamics, in order for there to be pressure, you need to contain it. Right. And so anything that we see in the world has a container. A tree has a bark, peel, shell, skin, you name it. Everything, a cell wall, even the cells down to the cells of your body, they all have their own skin, if you like. They all have their own cell wall. Right. But Earth doesn't have a cell wall, and Jupiter doesn't have a cell wall. These are just somehow anomalies sitting next to a vacuum. If you and I created a little vacuum chamber, right, and then we flew the door open suddenly, the air would rush in there so fast it would be dangerous. Yeah. So why isn't the air rushing off of the globe into this vastly more powerful vacuum than gravity could possibly be containing?
But isn't that what the atmosphere is for? I mean, I'm not a scientist.
No. Well, I know we're taught this idea that because of, I've had to, have these conversations for 8 years since I've been coming on the street, and so what we're taught in science is that the gravitational attraction of the Earth is sufficient to hold the atmosphere in like it's a shell, like it's inside of a shell. And that not only that when the Earth spins at 1,000 miles an hour on its axis constantly, the atmosphere moves along with it. So firstly, the atmosphere at the ground level is moving at 1,000 miles an hour, but as you go to 100 miles in altitude, of course, that has to move faster in order to maintain the angular change. Yes? The longer I make the arm of my clock, if I go to Big Ben, for example, the end of that clock has to move much faster, even though the angular change is the same, right? People use the example with, how could it be a flat Earth? If you go on a roundabout, children's roundabout, and you turn it once a day, how slow is that going to be? Well, it is going to be slow, but if I made that roundabout 4,000 miles in radius, then the people on the outside better hold on tight, because it's moving the speed of sound, faster than the speed of sound. And then the higher you go away from that, then of course it's moving even faster. But we know that in reality, if I spun the roundabout, the air 1 meter and 2 meters away from the roundabout isn't even going to notice. It's not even going to notice. So how's it going to be dragged along, and how's it going to be dragged along even faster than the roundabout itself is moved? The physical object. You spin a tire, you spin a bicycle tire or whatever, the air around it is not going to move faster than the air that's closest to it. And even the air that's closest to it and dragged by it is quickly going to return to a stasis once it's not being interfered with. You understand, this is basic science. As a child, you would have spun your bicycle wheel and all that, and you would have understood that the wind is coming off, but it's really not going to speed up. It's not going to go any faster. The moment that air molecule leaves the tread of the tire, it's going to encounter resistance in the air itself, which will slow it down.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you heat it up, air will obviously in a fire is going to lift quite quickly and so on against gravity. So no, there's the idea that the ancients, by the way, for thousands of years, the Sumerians, they already knew about the precession of the equinox. They knew about all of the star constellations 6,000 years ago, and they mapped them perfectly based on it all turns around us on an annual basis, and then this 26,000 year precession. They calculated this years ago. In fact, they say that the Sumerians have a what they call a computer, an astrolabe. It's called the astrolabe, which is designed to predict the eclipses and things like that. They were doing that 2,000 years ago based on a flat Earth model. So the idea that these things need to be what they've told us, and actually computers can't even resolve the three-body problem. Like if you try and get three bodies to rotate around each other, like they claim, we've got many bodies all rotating around each other, and then finding the same placement, those stars that we're going to see in exactly the same placement in 12 months' time, and yet they're all moving at millions of miles an hour, because the spin of the Earth is only one of the four movements that Earth is apparently undergoing, and the fastest of which is 2 million miles an hour, and yet all the stars have been in the same place for all of recorded history. So it's much more likely that the disco floor is not moving, and the lights on the roof of the disco are moving.
So with the sun, is the sun moving around us, or are we moving around the sun?
The sun is moving around us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's traveling overhead, and when it, just like the aeroplane, appears to rise as it comes closer. It's at cruising altitude, but once you pick it up, you'll see it rise, and then settle as it goes over you, yeah? The sun is doing the same thing. It appears to be rising and setting based on your perspective. But if you ask someone who was, say, I was recently in Spain in the Sierra Nevadas at 1 mile altitude, 1,700 meters, I noticed that the sun didn't appear to kind of go down ever into the sea. It just kept holding its height until the clouds, it got lost in the murk of the atmosphere. I never really saw it set when I was up there. And I remember once years ago flying out of Dubai, and the sun had set while I was in the building. We climbed on the plane, took off, and got through the cloud bank, and there was the sun again above the clouds. It's like what it had already set. If it's a globe the size they say it is, then it should at 20,000 feet or whatever I was, or 15,000 feet by the time we broke through the clouds, I should not have been able to see over the curvature where it's already hundreds of miles sort of away and over lots of curvature, which according to their formula would be miles and miles. In fact, many pilots are saying this, we don't account for any curvature, by the way. When we fly flat and level for 5 hours, 10 hours, whatever, and then we settle to our landing point. And of course, if the Earth was spinning and the atmosphere was moving powerfully in one direction, that would be a big consideration for how they land, the direction they could fly in. I know we have we have we have some strong, powerful winds that they do use. The Gulf Stream and stuff like that they use. But those that can exist on a flat Earth, no problem at all.
Okay. Now, I want to ask about time zones. Because I used to live in China. I lived there for a year.
Okay.
And I was talking about video calls. And it'd be nighttime for me, so it would be daytime for them.
For where?
So if I was in China and I did a video call with my family in England,
Okay.
it would be say nighttime for me, but sunny and daytime for them. I could see the sunshine through the video call.
Yeah.
So how do time work?
I absolutely believe that there are places right now that are waking up for a new day.
Yeah.
Might be Australia. They're waking up to a new day right now. So all of these things, seasons and time zones, all absolutely work perfectly well. But the scale is where our minds are misled. So the idea that the sun is vastly, millions of miles, 800,000 miles across, or whatever they say it is, and 90 million miles away, all of that is holding your mind in a trap. Because if I had to say, look, I've got a powerful light here in Bournemouth town centre, walk away 1 mile, can you see it? No.
Probably not. No.
So it's daytime here, nighttime where you are.
Right.
Simple as that. Simple as that. The light, how it works, and whether we're looking at a singular physical object, I don't think we are. I think that we're looking at a rendering of a secondary sort of reflection, possibly, when we look at the sun, because, well, the moon is the best example of that. At full moon, when the clouds are out, you can have the exact same experience, where you go outside your house and go, wow, it's quite bright in the sky around me. But if I look 5 miles into the cloud bank, it looks dark. 6 miles, 7 miles, it's really dark that way, far away from me, right? But your friend who lives that far away from you goes outside of his house same time. He says it's super bright over my house, but it's dark where you live. How's that work? So that's an anomaly, because if we were illuminating, like they say, from 250,000 miles away, the entire blanket of cloud, which is what the claim is, right? Everything's coming in horizontal and the whole thing is being illuminated equally, then me and you, 7 miles apart from each other, should just see a constantly and unbroken whiteness all the way from me to you. There shouldn't be that diminution of the whiteness. The moon is rolling. The moon is rolling. It's opposite in southern hemisphere. I made this observation myself. So if it looks like this crescent moon, it's this way in South Africa at the same time. And instead of turning clockwise in here, it's rotating anti-clockwise in South Africa. So there are some strange anomalies that I can't answer. But the day and night is as simple as it's a light that can only illuminate, simply speaking, half of the Earth at any one time. And so as it turns around, if I took Wembley Stadium, for example, and I had one spotlight and I moved it around the stadium once every 24 hours, some people would be bathed for 12 hours in light, and then it would go to night, and then it would go around like that.
But does the sun? So let's say this was like the Earth, right?
Yeah.
Is the sun moving here and then it goes underneath the Earth?
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. No. So imagine. I mean, I would prefer, although I don't know, my preference is that it's doing this.
Okay.
So this is China. Right. And this is America.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in land of the rising sun, Australia, Africa, America, and goes around like that. So that's making a circuit once a day, and then in the European summer, it's right here in Cancer, and the European winter, it's out in Capricorn.
Okay.
And it's making that like an LP, like the needle on a record. Comes in for 6 months, goes out for 6 months, and it creates what they call the analemma. You can take a photograph of the sun every day at 12 o'clock, and you'll find that it makes this figure 8 shape, which is known as the analemma. It's very well known in observation circles. It's not a theory, it's not a conspiracy, it's a fact. And lots of people around the world can do the exact same experiment themselves. And it creates this analemma perfectly in the sky for 12 months. And it's never in a different position. It's always for years and years and years. You'll see it doing this. The moon does the same thing, but it does it in 1 month. It creates that same pattern. If you take a photo at the same time, it'll create this pattern, because it's moving down to Capricorn and then moving up to Cancer and down to Capricorn over the course of 6 months. And it's all electromagnetic. I mean, even Nikola Tesla was like, if you want to understand the universe, you need to think in terms of electromagnetics, in terms of frequency, vibration. Everything is a vibration. Everything is a tone. What we're interpreting as hard metal or rock or whatever is simply a vibration. The best example I offer is that if you took a tree, cut it down, it weighs a ton, let it dry for a few months, now it weighs 800 kilos. Burn it overnight, and tomorrow you've got 10 kilos of ash. Nothing else. No weight left that tree. Never. Only heat and light. Only frequency. Only vibration. Only energy left that. And we perceive that energy as 1 ton. In mainstream science, they'll tell you that 99% of the universe is dark matter. We do not know what that is. Well, the 99% of the dark matter is what burnt in the fire. The 1% is what is the ash, the remaining bit, because that's all we can measure in science. So the whole stuff about what atoms are and so on really needs to come under a lot of scrutiny. But before you're willing to go and look at those things again, you have to be willing to kind of start to question, am I sure that I live on a spinning rock when all of what I believe about it comes from government agency?
I'll have to do some research on this myself. It was nice talking to you, though.
I have really enjoyed talking to you. What's your name?
Daniel.
I'm Dave.
Nice to meet you, Dad.
Can I send you home with the flyer?
Oh, yes.
And I've got, because I obviously try and share as much information as I can with people, and I have nothing to sell, but I do obviously, want for people to free themselves in a way, and for the evil not to prosper any longer in this insane asylum that we live in.
All right, well, thanks, Dave.
Daniel, all the best.
Take care.
Cheers. Hi. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Space travel is all Disney. It's all CGI. Have you ever seen a satellite in space? Have you ever seen a satellite in space? Okay, have you ever Googled satellite in space though? If you Google satellite in space, what you'll get is cartoon. None of them are real photographs. Okay, what's your question? Yeah, go on.
From the source of the weather balloon, didn't they just like take a photo of the entire Earth? Did they like, do you say like of this photo here? Was this the only photo ever like?
No. So weather balloons have gone up to 120,000 feet for a long time. We found that it depends on the kind of camera you use, because if you take a fisheye lens, and I've seen university do the same thing, they took a fisheye lens and as it left the ground, it already looked like a ball, and it just keeps looking like a ball. The same with Felix Baumgartner, the Red Bull jump. You remember that? The Red Bull jump, right? When he jumps out of his cupola, he's got a camera behind his head, and all you see is a flat line from 200,000 feet. It's flat. So it forced Neil deGrasse Tyson to come out and say, you can't see curvature from that high. You have to be much higher to see curvature. But lots of people say, I see curvature from a plane at 35,000 feet. So no, we actually can't see curvature. In fact, the first man who ever went up to 10 miles high, a Frenchman called Auguste Piccard, he went up and said, when he came back, he said the Earth looked flat with upturned edges. So honestly, the Earth, the higher we go, we've sent these up, we only see flat and level. But they'll tell you that when you go to the beach, you see the ship go over the curve already at 3 or 4 miles. Google it. They'll say 3-4 miles, that's where it goes over the curve. But when we take a powerful camera, we can see that ship for another hour. Go 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles, and we can still see the ship. In fact, you can go down to Needles and see 15 miles across to Needles. And it's all, you can see the whole thing. But according to them, there's curvature from the first mile at 8 inches per mile squared. By 10 miles, it's already 60 feet. And by 100 miles, you're talking 6,000 feet over a mile of curvature.
That's like 8 centimeters.
8 inches per mile. Google it. Well, I mean, there would be if it's metric, it's going to be, I would have thought 20 centimeters per kilometer. I've thought about this, maybe it's 15 centimeters per kilometer squared, but it's the squaring that kills it, because once you're at 100 miles, that's 10,000 times whatever.
So you're saying basically the Aussies just fall down?
Sorry?
So you're saying the Aussies just fall down on the Earth, or is the Earth do the space out? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
basically Australia is like split down to the ends, or like.
So you see this brickwork here that makes a circle. See this brickwork here that makes a circle. Imagine that circle is the Antarctic ice ring, and Australia is over there, Britain is over here, America's over there. So when I sail my ship, I can do that, and all the sailing routes, when you look at them, it's like, okay, I can do that on a flat Earth map, which is like the United Nations logo, right? It's like a flat Earth map. So when you use that map, you can sail around to Australia, you can sail to America, you can do all the sorts of things. But one thing we've never done is we've never flown from one side of Antarctica and come out the bottom end and come out the other side, like say from Peru to Australia. Never done that on the globe. Always, as low as we go is 70th south parallel. Why? Because there's the Antarctic Treaty that forbids any activity below the 70th parallel unless government sanctioned. So we don't actually know like this brickwork might be 70 a parallel, and we are not allowed to go beyond that and see what's beyond that. Some people say there's more continents, that they're hiding more land on a flat Earth.
Actually, when I was at South Korea, on the way back, because we wanted to, like, this plane skipped Russia, we actually went over the North Pole. So we went from South Korea here, over the North Pole back to Germany. So like, how did that happen? Like, did we just like
Okay, so imagine the North Pole, if this is my circle, then the North Pole would be that drain in the middle, right? So you could still fly over the middle. You could still fly over what is we call North Pole. I mean, I'm not sure, when I look at, you guys have written books about emergency landings, for example, that prove the flat Earth, where they're flying from Hawaii to California, right? You can imagine that in your mind, Hawaii, California, right? Someone dies on the plane, they land in Alaska. What? Alaska? Why would you go all the way up to Alaska? Well, if you look at that on a flat Earth map, the United Nations logo, you find it's a straight line from Hawaii through Alaska to California. And the same is true with South African flights to Argentina. What? They don't fly straight from Johannesburg to now they do, they may do now. But when I was a youngster, when I was your age, because
Germany, you like flies like that over to New York because the Earth is curved.
When you're on the plane flies pretty much straight, right? It doesn't actually fly, around. It looks like it's around because what they've done is they've taken the globe and shown you it on a flat map. And in order to hide that the Earth isn't what they show you, then they show it as a great circle route. But I know international pilots who say, listen, we know that the Earth is flat. We don't make any allowance for going over the curve of it. And aviators, if you look at the World War II flying maps that the aviators used, they look like the flat Earth map back then. And they had the gyroscope on the plane back in the 1940s, right? The gyroscope gives you what? Your artificial horizon. And you set the artificial horizon on the runway before you take off. And you use that as your baseline in clouds so that you know you are not going to hit the ground, right? But if you were on a globe, then that baseline would have to be going down, 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 down all the time. Or up, up, up. Because I ask people this question, like if the ship is leaving England shores going to France, right? And you claim it's going down to France. Is France lower? Is Germany lower than England? So when you came from Germany to England, did you come up?
I just sat on the plane.
No, yeah. No. But if you imagine you could take a ship from Germany. You could take a ship from Germany or from Greece, say, through the Mediterranean, and then come to England. Like, have you gone up the ball? No, because people in Greece would say, no, we're on top of the ball. And the ship is going down when it leaves the Greek harbour in Athens. How can that be possible? How can it go down in Athens to come to England, which is apparently up?
Okay, so I don't have a perfect speed. I just take this box.
That'll work.
So imagine...
Those are bad for you, by the way. Carry on.
I don't really care. My ears are already so screwed.
It's your brain more than your ears.
I don't believe that one.
Okay.
But okay. I just like enjoy listening to music.
Fair enough.
So imagine we're living in Germany. Germany lies here, okay?
Yeah.
So
on top. Germany's on top.
Don't say it's on top. You say Germany's here, okay?
Yeah.
And let's say, I know the UK is here, right?
Okay.
So then we always would go down from Germany.
You go down from Germany, yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And let's say France is here, okay?
Yeah.
Just imagine. And France would go down to the UK too. Because France is here.
Okay.
Lies here.
Okay, so that's what the magic of relativity does, is that you keep moving this thing around to put France or Germany on top.
Exactly.
How can that be if it's not flat? The only way that we could always be on top would be if the Earth was flat.
No, because every country is somewhere else. It's not that every country.
So let's just say, let's just say here's England, right?
Yeah.
Where's Africa?
I know here.
Okay, so down the side, I would agree with you. It's kind of down the side, right?
Yeah.
So if I came from Africa, I'm basically coming up?
No, because Africa is like that, so we're going down again too.
So you've moved your globe around again?
Yes, because
so now what you've done is you've taken...
Africans don't walk like that.
No, they don't. They can only walk, yeah.
No,
so, but look what you've done is...
That's what gravity does.
In order to put Africa on top, you had to put Germany on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
So how can Germany be on the bottom? You said it was on the top.
No, I said Germany is at this spot. I didn't say it's on top.
You said that. You said that France is... When I leave from France, I'm on top.
Germany is at this spot. I didn't say it's on top. I said Germany is on this spot. It can be bottom, it can be top.
Why?
We're just going down to UK.
But if it was at the bottom, right? If something's at the bottom, not the ball,
yeah,
it has to go back up.
If something is at the bottom, it can still be at the top because the thing is like that.
See, that's the
Like, would you
brainwash.
say-
That's the mind control, bro. That's so
Would you
illogical.
say this isn't the surface basically? This doesn't exist.
For the flat Earth, no. There's no. We don't know what's underneath. You know that the deepest we've ever drilled into the Earth is 8 miles. So we don't know
why.
Why?
Because it's getting harder.
So how can we be sure if we've only been 8 miles? What is 1,000 miles? What is 4,000 miles? How can we know that if we can only go 8 miles down?
If you drill down at one point, let's say here, okay, and you just drill down until it stops, and you repeat this and just go like that, even over the oceans. At some point, you would go like this, like you will notice. If you look forward, there will at some point be like you can't see it. It would be straight. You could see like the next thing.
So, like, if I'm standing on, let's say we're on. Let me ask you this question: if I'm in a dinghy, you and I, the three of us, we've hired a boat, a nice boat, whatever. And we've hired a boat, and we're on the boat right now, and we say, listen, how far can we see? Let's say we can see on a very clear day, we can see France, right? We can see that. We're going to get in a boat, and we're going to go to France. Now we're going to say, okay, how far can we see now? And we're going to go to the next place down the coast, maybe to Brittany or whatever, and then make our way down to Portugal. Yeah. So at what point, every time I'm measuring this, I'm going, hey, the next mile there's no curvature. The next mile I can see those boats 1 mile away. I can see those boats. If I keep repeating that 100 times or 1,000 times, and I've never seen any boat below me, is it not possible if I was to shrink that back down and go, wow, this is like all one level body of water? When you fly over, have you flown over the Mediterranean Sea, right? You must have flown over the Mediterranean. I'm struck by, when I fly over the Mediterranean Sea, how many ships I can see. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever looked down the window and gone, wow, there's a lot of ships down there, right? All of those ships are on a lake, on a level body of water for 100 miles in every direction you can see. So how is it we can make the claim that when 3 miles, 4 miles, the ship is already going over a curve, when I can see 100 miles in each direction and it's all flat?
Because you're further away, so you have a bigger lake.
That's exactly why. Because perspective, how close you are to the ground and how high you are or how low you are, will determine, and how powerful your eyes are, will determine what you can see, not curve. Not like curve. You've been taught to believe that that's curve.
That doesn't prove that's flat.
But water, when it's at rest, right? No matter how small or big the lake, it's a bath or a lake 1 mile across or whatever, we can take a laser, we can fire a laser and prove that it is perfectly level. Now, if I was to do that 10 times over a lake, in fact, you can Google this, the world's largest spirit level, according to scientists, is what they call Loch Ness. It's a lake in Scotland, right? And it's 35 kilometers across. And they say it's perfectly level for 35 kilometers. There's no curvature over that. There's no curvature over Lake Baikal in Russia, where it freezes over. It's 300 miles long. And they use it in the ice rink every year in the winter. And that's perfectly level. So where is this curve at 3 miles?
But like, if you argue like that, then you could just say the Earth is not flat, but it goes like that.
I agree with you on that.
One time it's flat.
No, I agree. No. Remember that the Earth being flat is not predicated on mountains. There's obviously mountains, but it's that the water itself around the mountains is level. There is only one sea level. In England, there is only one sea level, and in fact, if you took a cross section of America, for example, you'd find it's 3,000 miles across, and it's a flat line at the bottom, and then mountains that go up to the Rocky Mountains, about 3,000 meters, and then back down to California at 0. And you're starting at 0, going up 3, going down to 0, across a flat baseline. And that, at 3,000 miles, is already 1/8 of apparent globe. And therefore, there should be obvious. If I took a football and cut out 1/8, or I took your clock and cut out 1/8 of that clock, you would obviously see that came from a clock that's something round. You would obviously see this. And we do not see that. When they teach you in Germany about Europe, they would have given you a cross-section of Europe to show you the Alps and this and that and what have you, but always from the same baseline. It doesn't matter if it's Everest, 8,000 meters above what sea level? Which sea level have they used? Because it's already a long way from the sea. And if we're on a curve, then there should be accounting for that. Planes should account for that. That's why we call them airplane. That's why we can shoot from Germany to England. You can shoot signals, radio signals, right? But they have to go from tower to tower if they're not strong enough. And you'll see those towers when you drive. I've just driven out of Europe, and I see these on the tall mountains. You get these massive towers, and they're talking to each other in a line from one place to another. The first radio signal sent over the Atlantic was by a guy called Marconi, And when Marconi sent it over, people were saying you won't be able to do it because it's Earth is curved, the water's in the way of America and England. And when it worked, they said, well, it can't be because the Earth is flat. It must be because they bounce a signal off the atmosphere. That's what they want us to believe, rather than these things are propagated line of sight, shortwave radio and stuff. They are line of sight. They cannot go around corners, and they cannot go around a curve or a ball. That's, So the Americans have got a weapon called the railgun. Have you seen the documentary on it? The railgun.
You're just saying radio waves can't go through an object.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about shortwave, and these things have to be line of sight. If I had like a walkie-talkie system, for example, and you went around the back of that building, I'd be losing you, because the signal is not going through that building.
But I have a radio station here. Obviously,
yeah, a relay. So that's what they do with our phones as well. They've got all these towers. Back in you're young enough not to remember it, but over the last 20 years, we would have like a few towers here and there in town, but not that many. And the moment you went out of town, you would lose signal, right? And the same is true today, that I can go into the countryside and try and get a route on my phone, and it'd be like, there's no signal here. Now, how is that that cannot be from a satellite, right? That has to be from a ground-based system. So all of our communications, even triangulation, has to be done by 3 towers being in location in order to triangulate your phone for the GPS, which means ground positioning system. So no, we do not. We know that these things have to be by line of sight. A lot of these things have to be line of sight. They cannot work without that. That's why we have these tall towers. Otherwise, they wouldn't bother. They'd be like, well, we don't need no tall towers because everything's dropping off around the curve, blah, blah, blah. No, they have to go up high.
So, but if you say it has to be straight, that means if I would walk around this building behind the wall and he would stand here and I would call him, he wouldn't hear me?
That's a different. So now, what are you talking about with the walkie-talkie or the mobile phone? Yeah. I mean, it depends on the type, but yeah, once you put things in the way, which is why they cut down a lot of trees nowadays, because they're interfering with the phone mast. They can't get a good signal through a tree. They can't get good signals through lead paint, which is why they got rid of lead paint. It's not that bad for you. I don't think. It's more that they can't get signals through lead, and so you can't get signals through the earth. You can't think that a 50-meter tower here is sending a signal to America through the earth. It has to be ground-based or over the sea. They've got buoys where they will have receivers and transmitters. And these, oftentimes, if you've ever seen the German sports match or something, and the main German TV station is there, they've got a huge truck with a big generator, and they've got a massive amount of power so that they can send their signal just 100 miles back to Munich or Berlin or wherever they're having to send their signal to, right? Huge system. And we're meant to believe that up there they've got these little things, these little washing machines with little solar arrays on them. They've got enough power to send for 200 miles and moving at 9,000 miles an hour to send signals back and forward. No, what they do with satellites is they put them on a helium balloon and they'll float them around Munich. They can float them over the city and they'll stay up there for a month, 3 months. This is what they've been doing for years, decades, where they'll float an item up there and they can use it for what they call satellite phones, and they can use it for bouncing signals up and down. I believe that, but that can only be done. Pardon me?
Do you have proof for like helium balloons with satellites on top of them?
Yes. There's a lot of that. Why don't you Google when you get home? You can Google satellite fell out of the sky. The guys in Peru, in places that have no idea what we're talking about, they'll put their videos up where one of these satellites has fallen out of the sky, and it looks just like, kind of like a cheap version of the satellite that you see on CGI, and it's got a balloon attached to it. NASA is the biggest buyer of helium in the world. And Scandinavia, like in Sweden, they're very proud of their project that they work with NASA, where they float balloons. And you can see videos of these balloons being launched. There's one video you'll find on YouTube of a 5-ton satellite ripping into a truck because they launched it wrong, and you see it slamming into and pulling not a truck, a car. They're rolling a car. It's so heavy. They've got these balloons that are bigger than a football stadium once they get up to altitude, because the helium expands as it gets higher and higher, right? So yeah, you can see lots of video footage of these things being launched from the ground-based system. You can see footage of that, but you can't see any real life footage of satellites being launched in space. And even the International Space Station, right? This is a highly technical piece of equipment. We've never seen it being pre-built on Earth before taking it to space. And have you heard of IKEA? Yes. You know IKEA, right? Can you imagine if IKEA just said, look, we're gonna put this product out that is all, you got to assemble it yourself. We're never going to try and assemble it ourselves. We're never going to test it ourselves. And not only that, you're going to need another half of it to come from Russia, and Russia are never going to test it, and we're never going to test the two parts together. And yet we've got this Russian part, this American part, and all of a sudden, and I've been watching space, and I loved space up until 10 years ago. I've been watching space. I know that I've never seen this stuff being tested. I know that I've never seen a spacesuit being tested on Earth. How would you test a spacesuit on Earth? Because it's going into a vacuum up there. You would put a man in a vacuum chamber and say, let's test your suit, make sure it fits, make sure it works, make sure there's no health problems, right? You would test it, right?
They do it in water.
They do it in water.
Yeah.
That's not space.
But they can
Water is the complete opposite of vacuum. Water is pressure in, vacuum is pressure out. Yeah? Yeah?
But it's about...
Is that right? Am I right?
It's about the oxygen supply.
It's about oxygen. I agree with you on oxygen. If you're scuba diving, you definitely need that. Or in the vacuum of space, if that was real, you would need that. I accept that. But I would put a man, because NASA has a big vacuum chamber. They do. It's got like 8 foot, 10 foot thick walls, and they can get to close to a pure vacuum. Maybe not as much a vacuum as they claim space is, but they can get close to that. So I would say, listen guys, you need to test your suit in a vacuum chamber. You can't, unless your spacewalk has been done in the swimming pool and with a blue screen behind it, then you would want to go into the vacuum chamber and test everything there first. And they've never done that. There's no experiment of a man going through that except once in the 1960s, and he nearly died, so they've never done it again. Because they can't, you see, back in the 1960s, if you look at that footage critically, you'll find that they were using zips. Now a zip is not a good way in water or in a vacuum of keeping that vacuum out. A vacuum is a very violent thing. We've seen rail car crush itself in just under a little bit of pressure. Hello, it's my little boy. So no, these things should be tested on Earth before they go to space, and we never see that. We only say, oh, well, we've got a new part to the International Space Station, and here's us doing the same tricks that they've done for the last 25 years up there, doing nothing really special. And then when I saw Tim Peake, the British guy, back in 2016, he went up there, and the first time he did a TV interview, which is still on YouTube, is with a big news channel here. They say, can you do a flip for us? And he does a flip that looks like he's wearing a harness. It looks like his veins are popping, like he's under pressure. He does this flip straight over like this. Now, if your friend said to you, right, you're in space now, prove it to me, you would do moves that would be impossible for a circus act. You'd be like, watch this, boom, I'm going to do these, like flip this way, I'm going to flip that way, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Things that I would say, wow, no circus could do that. No one with hidden harnesses. Because you know, like Sandra Bullock went to space in a movie called Gravity, right? Looks like she's in space, but she's on harnesses, right? You know, a lot of the stuff that they do, the CGI stuff that they put in the movies today, they're not really doing that. They're doing it with a blue screen behind, or green screen behind them. And then they've got harnesses to make them look like they're floating, blah, blah, and all that kind of thing. And NASA, you know, being the military, they have whatever the best technology is, they have it, and then 10 or 20 years later, we get it, right? The military always have the best technology first. So, of course, they're going to be able to fake this stuff, maybe even in the 60s. Because the moon landing is apparently filmed by a guy called Stanley Kubrick, who's a very famous British thing. And there's pictures of the NASA people with Stanley Kubrick. There's pictures with the NASA people with Walt Disney. In fact, they work so closely together, it's like they're almost twins. They're almost like, you know, NASA is for the adults, Disney is for the children. So none of this stuff can be proven in reality. We have to believe it. And for me, that's like a religion. And I know you guys are probably not into religion. So why would you want to attach yourselves to what is, in my view, a belief that you cannot prove yourself? I can prove to you that water is going to find level. I can demonstrate you a lake, a small body of water, and then I can show you also, measure it, show how these are parallel to each other. Even if I hold the cup sideways like this, the water when at rest will come parallel to the other waters that I have at rest. Always. But the thing with that is that if I made my test tube that had this level body of water, if I made it 1 mile wide and you still had no curvature, if you still couldn't measure curvature, or 5 miles wide, you still couldn't measure curvature, then you're having to kind of excuse the fact that according to the globe model, I mean, any ball, right? If you take any ball, no matter how big or small, it's always bending at the same rate all the time. So it should be obvious to us that we should be able to measure this curvature in the small and in the macro, in the much bigger. So really, even an Olympic swimming pool, according to, even though it's only 50 meters, should have a small amount of a hump in the middle. You know, that a laser, we got the finest of lasers, that should be able to detect that. And we should have lasers that could detect that the Earth is spinning or moving through space. Still not.
Experiment with lasers, and we set up one device that creates a laser, and one device that gets the laser.
Receives it, yeah.
Yeah, and they calculated how much the laser has been set down to be seen from the other device.
Okay, I've seen lots of experiments like that. I know one was on Netflix, but that was put together by government people, actually. So they weren't flat earthers. They claimed to be, but they weren't. But I know that experiment. But here's the thing: like we could take a very powerful lamp, like a lighthouse, and put it just like 10 meters above the water. And then someone who's 5 miles away, 10 miles away, they can still see that. And according to the curvature formula, they shouldn't be able to see that at all. The idea that the light is bending, that can't happen. Yes, I accept there's some scattering, which is what happened with that laser experiment, is that if the laser is not very powerful, it will scatter. And particularly if there's water in the air, which obviously over a lake, there's a lot of water in the air. Right? So there are reasons why I've seen another experiment where a guy put lights at 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles on a frozen lake at only a few inches off the ground, and he went back to the beginning point at 8 miles away, and all these lights, green, red, yellow, he can see them all from his camera is only a few inches off the ice. There is no curvature.
But you said if you drive a ship and you go out in the sea, and when how much did they drive away from the one that was looking for the ship disappearing?
I'm not sure, but I want to offer you this to think about. Like if you were in the middle of the sea, in the middle of the ocean, like big ocean somewhere, and you were to look around you from that position, using the claim that all the ships are going down, it means that you're basically on an apex. You're at the top of the ball at that point, and everybody is down from you. But you're also claiming that the guy that you can see 20 miles away, say the ship, you can see that 20 miles away, he's also on the top of the ball, looking down at you, according to him.
Yeah, everyone that is on his position thinks that he's on the top because the Earth.
Okay. So you know how when you look, if you stand on the train tracks, they're straight, right? Yeah. But the train tracks appear to squeeze together in the distance. Yeah? That's a thing called perspective. You know, how everything gets squashed into the distance. Yeah. Well, that's really what's happening to the ship that's in the distance. That appears to be squashing. Now, if you go to this side of the railway track and you continue to look at the light, you'll notice that the side that you're standing on, you'll lose the train track sooner than the line that's on the other side. The line that's on the far side now will go longer, and then eventually it disappear with both of them. Now I stand on this side and a complete opposite. Now it's that side I can see longer and this side I can see shorter. Can you imagine that in your mind? Well, the same is happening when you're standing on the beach. You're now standing on this side, and everything that's on this side you're losing faster. But if you went up to 50,000 feet, everything on this side you would lose faster, and you would see ships for, if your eyes were strong enough, for 500 miles, and they would be all over the level water. So that's my kind of thing on that. I'll give you guys a flyer because after we get past the is it possible that they've lied? You have to understand why they would lie. Same with religion. Why would they tell you about Jesus if that was not true? Well, I say because they want to steal control from you. That they want to control Earth. Please do.
Say you were in Japan.
Yes.
Why would it be possible to fly to USA straight on the fastest way, and you could fly over Europe to get to USA? Why do you have 2 ways to go?
Yeah, I mean, why do they fly people to Hong Kong? But people when they fly from England to Australia or Japan, they go via of course they go Hong Kong. They go via Dubai and then they go to Hong Kong to get to Australia. But the Japan thing, I mean, I think I would recommend what you do is look at the United Nations logo. You know the United Nations logo? Can you pull it up? Can you pull that up? Look at the United Nations logo.
Oh wait, one point.
Because you'll see how these flights make much more sense on that map. Yeah, go on.
I want to come back to this.
I don't, mate. You got one in your hand.
Yeah, roll up.
Some minutes ago you said about the helium balloons in the sky with the satellites on.
Yeah.
Do you have like proof of them being in the sky?
Yes.
How high are they?
What, helium balloons?
Yeah, the helium balloons with the satellites on them, you claim.
Well, I mean, if I can't use my phone because it's a thing. But okay, so wait, so now you're seeing the United Nations logo, right?
Yeah.
So Japan will be like here somewhere, right? There somewhere.
Japan.
There. Yeah. So when you look at that flight, you go, okay, I could make this flight work to England. Where's England? There, right? So these things make quite a lot more sense. Why South Africa is further away from us, from South America, then you can see why that might be harder to get to. In fact, old sailors used to say it takes us 10 days longer to get from Cape Town to South America than we expect. Yeah. So that's why we don't really sail much this way. We kind of sail into Africa, up into the West Africa, into America or Panama, and then around here to Russia. Or through, obviously the majority of sea goes through the Suez Canal to get to India and China. So that's that. But the question you had about, okay, so can you type in satellite launched helium balloon? Do you want to start pulling the banner down?
Yeah, sure.
You can put your stuff down here if you want, in the dryer.
Like those ones? Or?
I mean, that's a good example of one, but I mean, these are weather balloons, but this one here could be. Okay, that's old. Go to helium balloon satellite launch vehicle. Let's see if we can pull that one up. It's easier on my phone because I've searched these things before, so it already knows about where I'm at. Let's try that.
Helium balloon satellite launch.
Hits vehicle. I mean, so this here, look at that, young man. See, you see how big this is a launcher that's holding what is a satellite, what we recognize as a satellite. This is the balloon. Now what they do is they release the balloon, they allow it to get to about 100 meters, and then this truck follows it until it's got enough lift, and then they let it go. And then that's how the satellite goes up. And then it'll have controlling systems that can cause it to like have a fan, so it can blow in one direction or stay in a geosynchronous location, orbit as they call it. And so it'll just go around Berlin. And then after about 3 months or 6 months, the helium will have escaped from it, or it'll come back down to Earth. They obviously can control them so that they can capture them again, but sometimes they lose control of them and they fall in someone's backyard. I saw a video just the other day of someone in America going, "What the heck? This just fell into my yard." So these things can be unpicked if you're willing to go and look again, you know.
It might be AI, you know. Like if it's some days ago, like I can always claim it's AI.
Okay, but I've seen these for like 10 years and before the AI thing. But you would want to grasp at that rather than accepting that. What about if everything you've seen on TV is AI? What about if everything has been CGI to make you believe in outer space? You know, when you were young, you were given outer space as a child before you could even talk. You were watching Disney movies, people were telling you about space, games, Nintendo.
Crazy call. Maybe both of our theories are wrong, and in reality, it's just the shape of a Pringle.
Pringle. Do you know what a torus is? Pull up electromagnetic torus on your phone, and I'll show you what the Earth looks like. Because the torus is a ball, it's like an orange. But instead of being on the outside of the orange, we're on the inside of the orange, where the seeds are. And the water around us is the ocean or the air.
What?
Electromagnetic torus, T-O-R-U-S.
And like, if those satellites would be in the air, how high are they?
Probably about 20 miles or 20 kilometers, but above
20 kilometers?
above flying height.
Okay.
Well above flying height, I would have thought.
So this means if I
Yeah.
would have something that would get that high, I wouldn't find them
Yeah.
at those heights.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't cross atmosphere.
We've seen- yeah,
So I
but-
wouldn't find them under the atmosphere, right?
I mean, I can't say for sure because I'm not involved in that. But I know that when I look at those helium balloons, there was a guy called Richard Branson who used the same balloon to fly around the world many years ago. And he was operating at some 10, 15 miles of altitude. So I would suggest that that's probably where they are. But remember, like if I've got one over Berlin, right, I can make sure that there's no air traffic at 10 miles or whatever, because planes that are coming into Berlin airport, they're not at 10 miles. They're only at 1 mile, 2 miles higher, right, as they approach. So, no, I think it's very easy, I think, but you look at these ones. There's a video of a guy with a satellite, right, in a forest in Peru somewhere. These guys are not doing CGI, man. These are just bros your age. They found something in the thing and they're going, wow, what is this? So when you get home, look at the electromagnetic torus, because I believe that we are electromagnetic torus within that. And it fits with quantum physics, by the way, that actually you've got this electromagnetic bubble, and at the center of it, light is compressed enough to make the seed, or you, or the Earth. All right?
And do you think other planets are also?
Are there lights? The planets are lights. No rocks float. Rocks don't float.
And do you think the sun is flat or?
I think it's a light. I don't know whether it's round or flat, but I think it's a light.
The sun is just there. It's just like
No, it's
the light
moving.
Just spawn.
It's moving all the time.
It's moving all the time.
Yeah. But you believe that Big Bang brought everything from nothing. So, you know.
So basically, it's like there's light, and it's just like there's no source of the light, and it just moves.
Well, if we study, once we go deeper, you've got to be willing to look at the science.
Light always has to have a source.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if the sun doesn't have a source, then
I'm not saying it doesn't have a source. You know, once we get deeper into the research of how Earth might be, if it's not a ball of helium and hydrogen just burning for millions of years, which again is non-science. But if it's not that, then what might it be? And you're not ready until you're ready to kind of go, okay, I'm not stuck in the dogma that I used to believe. Then your mind will be open enough to think about this, which is why I studied quantum physics. Because when you study that, you realize that yes, there could be a black hole at the center of everything through which light is being compressed, and when that compression occurs, it causes so much energy that creates what we call the sun. And that sun is doing this cyclical, like a torus does, cyclical turning once a day. And that light then source comes as daylight, night light, daylight, night light. And the moon is the opposite of that. And scientists that are not flat earthers will tell you that the moon is giving off a cold light. It's the opposite of the sun.
But if the Earth was flat, everyone on the Earth should see the sun.
So at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, this light here, for example, this light here is a good example because, you know, when it's on, it'll be very bright for the people here. But if you walk away a mile, you won't notice it anymore, right? Well, what if the light is local? It's only a few miles high in the sky, and it's local to you, and it's going to bring light for 12 hours. But someone thousands of miles away isn't having the same light experience as you. And that's the same if I took a big light around a football stadium and I illuminated half of the stadium at one time, and then over 12 hours I moved it to the other half of the stadium. This side is dark, that side is light. And that's how a flat earth works, is that the light is local and small within the local space. People can see it for 1,000, 5,000 miles either side, and then it's kind of moving around once a day.
But you think it's always on the top, so it
It never goes under. It never goes under.
But why can you see if you're at the sea?
Yeah.
And why can you see it go into the ocean or into the horizon?
It's the same reason why you see the clouds touch the sea. You know the clouds, when you look over the beach on a cloudy day, you'll see the clouds touching the sea in the distance, right? They're not really, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's compression. Yeah, that's... So you think that's because they're going around like this? When you go back to Germany, right, and you lift off from England, and you see the cloud bank in the distance, you'll see actually it's flat for as far as your eyes can see. It's not curving down. So it's not somehow, because if you ask your friend to go 10 miles into the distance where it's touching the horizon, he'll say, no, it's still 1 mile above my head here, obviously, and it's still flat.
Because the Earth is curved.
Because it's curving?
Yeah, because when I go downwards, then due to the curve, it's like as the sun moves around the Earth.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
Like
so when the plane, listen to this one example, right? Listen to this. When you're watching a plane that's cruising overhead, it's on its way to America, right? And so it's all the way up at 35,000 feet, and it's cruising over your head. What happens when it goes past you?
Sorry?
What happens when the plane goes past you.
I didn't hear the first part of
The plane is cruising at 35,000 feet on its way from here to America.
Yeah.
You see it,
Yeah.
right? And it's 35,000 feet. It's above your head, yes?
Yeah.
Now it carries on going west.
Yeah.
Let's say in 5 minutes you look at it. Where's the plane now?
I probably won't see it because at some point it's like there's houses like in front of.
No, you're at the beach. You're at the beach.
If I'm at the beach, at some point where the earth, like at the point where the curvature is too heavy, I can't see it.
Okay, so we agree that the plane appears to be going down as it goes away from you, yeah? But you know that it's actually not curving at all, because if the pilot was curving, it's over a mile a minute or half a mile a minute he's got to make for this curvature that's not there. So he's meant to be curving the plane down to follow the clouds if you believe the clouds are curving around a globe, right? So he's meant to be curving the flight. But he
Fall down because of the gravity. The nose of the plane.
the gravity is pulling it down?
Yeah.
No. What's happening is he's pointing the nose 1.5 degrees up so that the plane doesn't come down. You can look into this. This is how pilots fly. No, the density is pulling it down. Because the plane is heavier than the air, it's wanting to fall back down. So it rides with its nose 1 degree up so that it doesn't come to the ground. When it wants to land, it puts the nose at 0.5 degree up, and then it starts to settle because it does not have the lift to hold itself at 35,000 feet anymore. So it's never making any allowance for curvature. But what you observe with the plane going over your head is that it appears to be going down. Yeah.
But like for the sun example, okay? Let's say he's here, okay? My friend is here. He sees the sun here.
Mhm.
Now the sun moves.
Yeah.
And at some point, obviously, you can't see it anymore.
Yes.
Because there's
Yeah.
water.
Yeah. Well.
Now the sun is here, right?
Yeah.
He can't see it anymore. Well, I'm here.
Yeah.
So now I see it, and now it moves. And let's say.
So you're now underneath.
friend of
You're underneath, which means that when you come to England, you're going to come back up around. That's what
no,
you mean.
because I'm at the top.
You're at the
of-
top again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the magic of relativity. Always has you on the top. Well, if the Earth is flat, you're always on the top. But if the Earth is a globe, if I'm on the top,
always be
you
on
can't
the
be on the
top.
top.
Yes.
How can I be on the top and you at the same time? We're 1,000 miles apart from each other.
Because we're both at the top from a point. It's all. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter where you are. You're always
So
on
there's
the
no
top.
down.
Would you say
We're always
this
on
is the
top.
top and this is the top?
No,
Yes,
no,
because it's both
no,
at the top.
No. No.
There is
If
no-
I said to you, this
so
is
you
the top of the
basically say-
table and this is the bottom of the table, there'd be no doubt in your
Well,
mind.
Space is infinite. Like it hasn't been proven yet. Proven yet that it's not infinite.
Okay.
So there is no top and no bottom because there's no borders to space.
That's bullshit.
No.
That's rubbish. That's
Name
rubbish.
me
I
one
know
example.
we were.
Prove it. Please prove it to me.
Hot air will only grow up. Trees will only grow up. If I plant a tree on the side like this, it's going to seek to go up.
But like, did you
That's-
ever
that's-
experience
that's-
being at like a border, like Minecraft?
A what?
A border, like you
Minecraft
just can't
border.
walk. And
Ah, yeah. We're not allowed. That's what the Antarctic Treaty is for.
But that's-
You know what the Antarctic Treaty does? Stops you and me from traveling beyond 60th South Parallel, yeah? So we are not allowed to go to the end of Minecraft. And in fact, I'm glad you used the Minecraft example because guess what? Minecraft is a flat world.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There is no border.
Okay.
It only exists in a flat world game. And it's just to the sake of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah. Oh, well, I think that because you can't, obviously,
Did
with
you ever
pixels.
experience the ball? Did you ever walk
The ball.
against it and just like bounce
I never experienced the ball. I never experienced the globe. I believed it. I never experienced space, but I believed it. Outer space. I mean, this is space around us, yes, but outer space, the vacuum of space, I believed it. But in real world, if I keep a can of deodorant and puncture it, then obviously the deodorant the pressure is going to equalize, yes, with the air around it. Well, we're claiming with gravity that there doesn't need to be a barrier between me and the deodorant can. Well, I say in reality, we have to have a barrier. And I'll leave it there, guys, because I know I'm not going to change your mind, and I'm going to go and hang out with my family. But I have enjoyed talking to you, young man.
Yeah.
All the best. In fact, I was talking to a German yesterday on a radio station, Truther radio station, which is in 80 languages. It comes out of Switzerland, actually. And they were asking me questions about, all of this sort of stuff. But this was a live stream, by the way. I don't know if you ever want to see it back. You can go on my YouTube channel and check it out. But you would have to say, Trinity 4?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got that then. Yeah? You want this now?
Yeah.
I think.
All right, you take care, guys. Have a good life. Well. I hope that was fun, guys. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope some of you realised that I could do with a little support, buy me a coffee, all that kind of thing. And hope you have a good day. Bournemouth.